So, I just want to go through just like, so people are always pulling up here talking about these literary devices. Let me show you how literary devices like really work in a really cool way where you don't notice it in a bar. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know I do this often, but it's because of who he is. So let's go to Rakim's Follow the Leader, where he goes. Self-esteem makes me super, superb, and supreme. Okay? So when he goes self, okay, so he's starting off with an S. The
Mm-hmm.
next word, esteem, the second consonant is with the S. Okay? The
Mm-hmm.
third word ends with the S on the third consonant. That's the definition. Get it? Self-esteem makes. Okay? So we have the S at the beginning, the middle, and the end on the first three words.
Brilliant.
And then he goes into the alliteration in the assonance, I believe it is, of it, which is super, superb, and supreme, which is technically the way that you would write something example wise when explaining it. You were taught to give three examples and use and after the second comma to give the third example. It is literally the definition of literary devices. That is all I got.
Incredible. Incredible. I'm going to get to the super chat real quick. 007 says, about to take off, so I'm getting my remarks on what matters most today. Apparently, Jigga Man's verse. It was cool, very happy, and it makes me want to hear an album. Probably not a verse of the year, but very high. Shout out to 007. Travel safely, brother. Michael
Yes,
Williams in the
please
super
travel
chat
safely.
says, that's Jay's best feature since Drug Dealers Anonymous, and the best he's flowed in years. Verse of the year contender, even though it's kind of unfair due to the length. We'll get into that too. And
Let's get into all of it.
I know you and I spoke about this offline and sort of the pregame or whatnot. I don't want, and we still feel a little different about all three projects. Well, two out of the three projects that dropped today.
Definitely two out of the three.
Two
Yeah.
out of the three. And, I think that JID put together a great effort, and I don't want all of his efforts and how dope this project is to get lost in this somewhat overhyped Jay-Z verse. I'm gonna say something that you're probably gonna be real shocked about, and I'm gonna explain myself. But I was more impressed with Eminem's appearance than I was Jay-Z's appearance. And for me to say that, it almost hurts to say that.
Really?
I
I was
was.
reading one of my notes is what does Mike think about this bar work that Eminem put down? Okay, okay.
It wasn't even just the bar work, it was the perspective and the approach to an album that's supposed to be about what God has done for the individuals. Right? I mean, that's the theme. And they
Okay.
stuck to I would say Kanye, and I'm going to get to that too. Kanye, Eminem, Dr. Dre, whoever, they stuck to that theme much better than everybody else. I would give Ross and Wayne props too. I think the song with Don Toliver and Travis kind of stuck to that as well. But everything else, it was a free for all. And that goes on Khaled because this is his project. He chose the name that God did, and he didn't really corral the troops into that theme. But we can get into that if you're ready to get into that.
What about to say? So is that where we starting? Are we starting with Cali?
We might as well. That's what
Because in
everybody
the J
wants
verse?
to
Because I mean the
hear.
J verse is where the buzz is, so
I
we might
guess
as well,
so. We'll kind of build up to the J verse, and I guess we can kind of start there because
Well,
there's album stuff.
let's talk about the album as a whole, and then we can kind of like start partitioning off like the highlight moments, highlight
Right.
songs, highlight verses.
As people are coming into the room, AKs and Curtain says it was just a good verse, nothing really special.
It was a good verse.
I'm gonna
It was a good
quote.
verse.
I don't know if I'm quoting you straight up, but something you've always said to me, and we've talked about this with great verses and how we match them up all time. The Cannabis Beast from the East verse comes up. And I think it was when you and I were doing the top 10 verses of all time, and I was talking about Beast from the East, and you were talking about verbal intercourse. And how Nas was able to put all of that into 16 bars. He didn't have to stretch it out, right? And I feel like I've never known Jay to ever have to stretch out in that fashion. The only time that comes up to me off top is when he did The Watcher 2. And when he clearly was trying to out rap Rakim on there. And that's Rakim. And we know how high everybody holds Rakim, including Jay-Z. So that was a moment to try to outshine the greatest MC of all time, right? And
Correct.
this seemed to be an effort to do that in more ways than one. I feel like Lil Wayne was kind of collateral damage here because he went out there and put together a really good verse that actually stayed on topic. And I'm gonna get to that, but yeah,
I want to get to that as well. When we get to that song, we need to talk about Wayne too.
We really need to talk about Wayne because I honestly feel like he has the more proper verse if we want to talk about, what the song's about and what the theme is and sticking to the theme. And for the first time, I think, and first time I'm hearing, Wayne acknowledges the fact that he has birthed this generation, and it's all factual.
Yes. It's the way that he did it, though.
And he did it in a way where it wasn't like Jay did it on some me shit.
It wasn't arrogant.
Yes.
It wasn't arrogant the way that he did it. It was appropriately said and stated in place.
I
want to juxtapose the angle and the approach of the two verses as well.
Because that's what it's about, especially because I know people like to play with things, but especially when you put God in the context. You know what I'm saying? So it is very important how you place things. And one of the things that I took away from that song specifically before we get into the album is the fact that everyone on that record, Ross and Wayne, they were praising God where Jay was praising Jay, Ho.
Let's get into the album. We'll get into it.
Nas the GOAT with the super chat says, they say Hov did well, Hov didn't. It sounded like his last 10 features crammed into one long verse. It's the same stuff we've already heard and knew about. Jay Short with the super chat says, hasn't Jay always done 80% of his best 20% of the time? He's never been a Biggie, Rakim, where consistently put out of memorable verses. Who consistently put out memorable verses. I guess that's what he was trying to say.
Jay?
Talking about Biggie and Ra.
No, I'm saying they're saying whoever's saying Jay doesn't consistently put out memorable verses.
He says, hasn't Jay always done 80% of his best 20% of the time? He's never been a Biggie, Rakim, were consistently putting out memorable verses. Guess he's saying that Biggie and Rakim put out memorable verses at a better rate than Jay-Z does.
Okay, they put out memorable verses at a better rate than everybody else too, though. So that's not necessarily fair.
Let's
you feel
get
what I'm
into
saying?
it.
It's like that's one of those. Okay, so you have aggregated data where it's like, well, this is where Biggie and Rakim, go on the bell-shaped curve in relationship to Jay-Z. But it's like, well, everybody else is on that bell-shaped curve on the side that Jay is in relationship to them in terms of the memorable moment. You know what I mean? Because it's like people know Rakim stuff that don't even know that it's Rakim stuff.
No, because it's breathing through everybody else.
Right.
That's why when we call Rakim the God MC, it fits in that context because he's the reason why everybody raps with the flow that they rap. It's not just something we're making up on another realm.
Well, it's also it's the way that he patternized his flow, but it was also the focus on the writing and the lyrics. That's why I just broke down the literary device in one bar.
Right.
A lot for one bar, wasn't it?
It's incredible. No one was doing that before, and very few
that
even
was
after.
1987, 88. He was doing that.
Insane.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. So on the bell-shaped curve, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, he's all the way over there. If you're gonna like start putting the data and compacting it that way.
I want to get to these super chats and then we'll go ahead and get into this album. Mad Max with the super chat says, Hov, shake my hand, great verse. Shake my hand, great verse. We got to give him credit for showing out along with Wayne, but Jadakiss is the king of New York right now. NDU Jam says, shout out from South Africa. This is a true testament that Ye is a trendsetter. Rappers are doing gospel hip hop sounds. I want to get to that too, but not really. They're not copying him that well. Honestly, they're copying him in a way where it's derailing what that initial message actually was.
truthfully so, which I took some issue with. So imagine how I
I'm
feel
taking
right
a
now.
lot of issue with, and I know you took some issue with Donda, so I know you're really gonna give this album some smoke.
I'm going to try to address it from the musical aspect, and we're just going to unpack the sacrilege as we go, so to speak.
Right. We keep getting
But
super chats in. I want to get to the super chats.
hold
So
on, let
we
me
can.
just say this, and then we can get to this.
Yeah.
Man, Ye is so great, it's ridiculous, because we got to talk about the Drink Champs episode 2, and we got to talk about Ye like just like all time, because really what I wanted to talk about is that after watching the Drink Champs and then listening to this Khaled album, it's like, I don't know if anybody's influence has been this heavy this long. He changed the game, like Mo said. He changed the paradigm of things once, and it appears he is shifting the paradigm again. How many rappers have done
He's
that?
done it a few times. I mean, because even
this
if we
is
think
time
about
number 3, possibly.
Yeah, because if we think about the college dropout, that changed what you know. You know what? I won't even say that. That was the introduction. I would say graduation was that moment when he went up against 50, and it changed the trajectory of what mainstream hip hop artists could look like.
Could do.
Yeah.
No, it changed what you could
He
do.
took out gangster rap right there. You know what I mean? Right there in that moment when graduation went up against Curtis, he took out gangster rap for being the mainstream, I guess, model for what hip hop is. He did that. Then 808s and Heartbreak brought in a whole new era of things.
Well, what he really did is that he allowed artists to win. It's like,
yeah, and
artists
the
is going to
regular
win
guy.
this fight from now on.
And the regular guy, the guy with no street credibility. You know what I'm saying?
Just the artist. You just need to be an artist after Ye. You needed to be something before Ye that you maybe were not. See, like people understand how many of these dudes that had to be somebody they're not, that then got robbed, shook down, extorted to try to live a certain lifestyle and be a certain type of way just to make it in the game.
Cool. All the way down to the fact that on a mainstream level, and I know there were people before who kind of did it, you needed a rap name. The nigga didn't call himself Killer West. You know what I'm saying? He went with his birth name. And even though, and I know a lot of people are going to bring up Tupac, even Tupac was kind of probably pressured by, just the culture to phonetically spell it in a way where it was kind of a rap name with adding the 2. No. You know what I mean?
No, I think that was Tupac, because when you go and read his poetry, he wrote with the number 2 in it.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, I'm not saying the pressures of like, you got to change this, but you just know that when you come in the game, you got to have a rap name. Like, I knew that when I wanted to be a rapper, my rap name was crucial. I couldn't go by Michael Doctor. You know what I'm saying? Kanye West jumped out there and was like, Kanye West.
No, I get you. Because it's like, Nas just came out as Nas, and Tupac just came out as Tupac.
Yeah.
Right.
But see, you see the following where it's like J. Cole.
Nasir Jones is not getting the same following as Nas off Gate.
Exactly.
Right.
Jason with Super Chat says, not only was Jay's verse nothing special, but he was extremely blasphemous and very problematic. You know what? I'm glad we're not the only people who are seeing this in that way. Our man says, all these industry heads raving about Jay-Z's verses because they want Jay to win another Grammy. AKs and Curtains with the super chat says Jay's prestige does more for Jay than his actual bar work on the track nowadays. Mad Max says the Ye song was another album. LOL. Yeah, it was from another album because Push and Malice was on the song. Yep, we could talk about that as well. All right, let's get into this album.
Let's go.
I love the engagement already, though, man. We're gonna have a great show. I already feel it.
Yeah, I mean, it already is a great show in my estimation, my humble estimation.
You know,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because I see this in the chat, the album's called God Did, the song's called God Did, and what I see on Twitter that's trending is Hove Did. That's problematic.
That's what's very problematic.
That's the problem. And, and this is a problem that they created. This isn't something that social media just did.
No, Hove did that.
So hopefully you wouldn't have to go through that. Hove did that. Okay, let's get to it.
So problematic.
All right.
See, and it's coming from me. That's why it's like, no, I'm going to try to be as like baseline as I can about this so that nothing is misconstrued or it's not feeling like I'm giving off the inappropriate energy.
Right.
Right.
Okay. Well, the album's called God Did. DJ Khaled released it today, at midnight, whatnot, and it features pretty much the whole industry. It starts off with
All of
an
that
intro. I mean, it is what it is. That's not being shady. I'm just being real.
No, I've been saying it. It's
He
like,
let off the
we've been running
cannon
this
for
for
this
about 2 decades now. It's
So
whatever.
it features everybody. I can't go through all the names, but it's one of the things that was kind of deceptive for me is with the Drake No Secret. When you see the track list, you're thinking, okay, Drake got a solo song on here.
Not
That
so
was
much.
49 seconds that anybody could have done. Like, this is my thing, man. We don't hear Khaled actually, and on the album once again, on an album that is called God Did. Can we explain exactly what this album is, like what the purpose of the album is? Because it sounds like it's coming from a deeper perspective, and I think that intro would have been a great time for Khaled
Okay.
to take the microphone and actually do something message-wise to actually convey that, because the music didn't really do that. Go ahead.
Okay, so can we take our first pause?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for somebody who loves to talk and do intros and do interludes and to explain things.
For other people.
For other people. Thank you.
He did the intro. Yeah, he did the
those
intro
were literally
to
the last
Culture.
2 words I was about to say. 3 words, for other people.
Yeah.
It's funny how when you're pulling up with something with this type of title where God is obviously involved, that you don't explain anything. Nobody finds that a little, at least on a fundamental level, don't you find that at least just fascinating?
It is. And not that Drake even said anything in his place. This was a bunch of... It really came across as, I want people to see Drake on here twice. You know what I'm saying?
More or less.
And
definitely had that appeal.
And
I
obviously...
feel you on that. I don't want to say anybody could have done that, though, because that's the effect and the power of Drake. Very few artists you could have just put on the first song like that, and just seeing them solo like that is going to carry a certain effect that makes you feel like, oh, okay, let me see.
Was this for the algorithm, or was this for like extra streams?
That specifically was for the algorithm. If you want to say if you want to say that was for the gram,
that was throwing off the algorithm to throw Drake on a 49-second track to start your album where he's virtually saying nothing.
Yeah, that's just that's like a little Kickstarter. That's a little shot of espresso. That's not like, it really ain't even part of the meal.
Well, you know what? That's part of trying to get your album to #1 too, right? Like, I need all of the extra streams possible to get this project to #1. And so let me go ahead and add a 49-second Drake intro. And that's the thing that's problematic about the streaming era and the way things chart in the streaming era, because now you're equating streams of a 49-second interlude that Drake did where he said virtually nothing to your sales. It's not like people actually went out there and purchased this. You know what I'm saying? All those accumulative sales are actually attributing to how he's going to be charting, and this intro looked like a real stream move, for lack of a better term.
Hey, I'm sorry. No, and I hear you. I'm sorry. I just got word back from my friend who was...
How's she doing?
We're hoping she's going to be okay. She was able to text me back, so...
Okay, well, good. Prayers up to her. The other thing that was problematic, too, as far as, since we're talking about the cover, do you not find it odd that an album called God Did is executive produced by Allah?
Okay, so can we get into something?
Go ahead. I'm trying to bait you into that.
Okay, most of the guys that are talking this... Okay. For me, when you're saying God, that is a verbal yet non-verbal way of saying that you are leaning towards a Christian type of faith, because Muslims say Allah.
Correct.
And so most of the people who speak on these rhetorics espouse 5%er and Muslim and Nation of Islam I guess is what NOI today. Like these are the ideologies and the fundamental fabrics of the rhetoric that is espoused. And so, that's the truly problematic part. And this is what I mean about you have to be careful when you're in the position that a lot of these men are in terms of the following that they have, and you're not really like up to par to spar in those types of forums, if that makes sense. You get what I'm saying? It's like you should probably leave that alone. And this is what I mean. Like being spiritually inclined or finding a new form of spirituality doesn't mean that you're really those are the shakiest waters to walk on, and I mean that tongue in cheek. And so don't think because you are a great MC or that you are a great promoter or a great executive. No. That's the shakiest of waters. And so the immediate issue that I would tell you is that, well, don't all you guys follow Farrakhan, but you're talking about God in Psalm 151? Why aren't you talking about something out of the Quran? Since you're bringing up Farrakhan and Mike Wallace, which, by the way, didn't go well for Farrakhan. You see how they try to change history? That didn't help Farrakhan's cause. Mike Wallace is still one of the greatest journalists ever. That hurt Farrakhan's cause, actually, that interview. That didn't hurt Mike Wallace. You feel what I'm saying?
Well, I think that, I guess that could be debatable, depending on,
No. Mike Wallace didn't lose anything or get any vitriol from that. Farrakhan did. So that's like, that's factual. Did anything happen to Mike Wallace from that interview?
I feel like Farrakhan's going to get vitriol anyway. You know what I mean? So I think that...
Unfortunately, you're right.
Yeah. I just think he was just using that platform to, bring in anybody who was listening to him. And so I think it's a win-win in that sense.
I don't even like the Farrakhan name drop either, though. Like, we're going to get into all of that.
Yeah, we will. Andrew Green with the super chat says, in my opinion, Jay, Wayne, M, and Jada delivered on their verses. Length of Jay-Z's verse had people gassed. It's not Winter Wars by Capadonna, but still solid. Nas the GOAT says Jay-Z has a song called Nickel and Dimes, where he says the greatest form of giving is anonymous, but he brags about what he's done for people. Shaking my head. I want to get to that too. Michael Williams with the super chat says, how is Jada the current king of New York over Nas? I must be missing his projects that are on par with KD2 and Magic. Mad Max says, Hove always been blasphemous. I mean, people calling him Hove. We all know about Jay and just waiting on you to get to the JID because he got Album of the Year contention. I agree with that. Coop disagrees with that. I can't wait to talk about that. Born King. Got the wrong thing on the screen. All right, Born King says, felt like Farrakhan talking to Mike Wallace. Best thing I remember from the verse, and it wasn't even a rhyme. Dante Smith says, on the real, Jay started this weird God complex trend in rap. Kanye, Yeezus, Kendrick, etc. Shaking my head. He doesn't get heat for it, though, which is interesting, I think.
He doesn't.
Swain, I said he doesn't get heat for it, though. Swain with the super chat says, so they hated a 10-minute game song, but they loved the 4-minute J verse. Shaking my head. Very interesting, right?
That's interesting.
It's like the yeah.
That's fair.
Mad Max says, we're expecting you were expecting Khaled to have a theme. The album is just about bragging about how well off he is because God, which he denies his worship, but he knew he wasn't going to follow those themes. It's Khaled. And, he also sat there, and I guess it was posted on Instagram as promotion, where he told Future that God told him to buy a $3 million watch. These people are wild, man. Jay Short with the super chat says, my bad, typo, guys. I find it interesting how Drake's features on the album have been under-promoted. They still need older artists to create hype. Question mark. Andrew L. Green says 21 Savage sounded fire over the soul sample. His Khaled song was dope. Side note, do y'all think that this long J verse means no album? We're going to get to that too. Jason with the super chat says Khaled's recent religious image is very fake to me. Just looks like he's appropriating faith and having a connection with God. Or did God actually tell him to buy that $3.5 million watch? J Dub says, when can we get some A2HH? It's very problematic t-shirts. LOL, I need those. Yeah, we need to create those ASAP. Dante Smith says, same reason Game put Drake's voicemail on Drillmatic. That is true. That is very fair. That's for
That's
streams
fair.
too. That's very fair. Thank you. Andrew Green with the super chat says, Coop, last EP, I liked your Emmett slash Barry and last episode. I liked your Emmett slash Barry and Jay slash Nas analogy. I'm going to take it further and say that Big was Bo Jackson. Would have been the best. Short career. Love
Okay,
that. Love that.
So here's the thing. When Bo Jackson was there, it was him and Barry Sanders, kind of like it was Nas and Big. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
Right.
those were the guys. It was like that was your West Coast guy. That was your AFC guy. That was your NFC guy. If you wanted a running back around that time for that 3-year stretch, like 88 to like 90, you know what I'm saying? You wanted Barry or you wanted both.
I want to piggyback on something somebody said, and they were talking about the fact that it feels like Khaled's, I guess, religious kick is kind of fake. I'll say this. I think musically, like you said, Kanye West is a trendsetter, and I think that the approach of Donda, it was named after his mother, but it had a spiritual foundation to it. I feel like Khaled piggybacked off of that, and it feels like, to me, without anybody explaining anything and without this album actually following certain themes, as Mad Max said, it feels like he was trying to sell God. And I think that the fact that when you sit there and have an album called, God Did, and it's executive produced by Allah, that's problematic. Why wasn't it just Allah Did? Can't sell that? Is that what that is? That's what it comes across to me.
Ooh, because this is a Christian country, not a Muslim country.
Exactly.
Oh, now I get where you're coming from. That's why the Allah part is, see, it's problematic to me just like for different reasons. But if we're talking about the business aspect of it, and for what it is that you probably follow personally in terms of your faith, why can't you put and sell Allah Did in America?
Exactly. That's your faith, and you should do that.
Because this is America with 3 Ks, like Ice Cube said. That's why.
But is that not a... No, wouldn't that be called a sellout move, though?
I mean, this is what I mean about there's so many things about it that are actually truly problematic. Like, I know it's gotten to the point with the word that we say that kind of like tongue-in-cheek at times. No, this is problematic, like legit.
No. This is really problematic.
It's legit.
Yeah.
No, because it's like, no, Allah's the executive producer, but God did. It's like, so is that the same person?
Right.
It's like, well, then I tell you what, then call it Allah did, and then put God as the executive producer.
Exactly. Why don't we switch it around? Can't do that?
Switch it around. And hold on, and I've seen some people in the chat saying that like we're nitpicking. Are we nitpicking now? Let's reverse it.
It's not nitpicking. It's being honest. Because again, we talk about when the baby goes out there on the cross. And, when people go out there and depict themselves in a certain light, we criticize that as well. This is the same thing, if not worse. Not to mention, and again, I
didn't know we were handing out hall passes just because Khaled's not deep. You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly. And I think that makes it even worse because you're not explaining anything.
Right. It's like, no, that's Khaled, though, so we wasn't expecting that anyway. That doesn't make it okay.
He shouldn't name it that. Again, that's what makes me feel like you're piggybacking off of what Kanye West did. No pun intended, but you know what I mean? And trying to do it in your way because let's just be real. Khaled's currently struggling for relevancy. So let me do something that people are going to gravitate to. You can't criticize God, right?
And let me tell you how consistent I am with it. Well, I don't have any problem with Tupac's last album being called Machiavelli, but I don't like the cover. I don't like the Nas Hate Me Now video. I don't like Nas having God's son tattooed on his stomach. I don't like Yeezus. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm consistent. I don't like any of those things. Be like, oh, but Coop, you like the Hate Me Now video. No, I hate that. He should have never done that. Yeah. That was very problematic when he did that. Yeah. That's how bottles got thrown at people. I
think everybody involved who's done anything like that will go back and tell you, I shouldn't have done that.
But hold on, so let me just finish. Right, but let me just finish like saying this. Well, you want to know what the one person that it works for? It works for Kanye, and let me tell you why. Isn't one of his first singles a song called Jesus Walks?
True.
Not like second, third album, but like third single ever released. It's Through the Wire, All Falls Down, and Jesus Walks, right?
And you know what? And now that you say it like that, Kanye didn't mask it either.
He never hit it.
He put Jesus in the title of a song. He's
Literally,
not gonna
this is what I
put
mean when I'm
code
saying we need
words
to
in there.
really talk about him, because when you got guys like literally 22 decades after that album trying to hide it, when he actually won with it 2 decades ago, Mike, it's one of the best rap songs ever. It's one of the things that changed the paradigm.
Yeah.
And he really did have people singing Jesus Walks in the club.
And
That's
you know
real.
what? They tried to make him not even put the record out.
Mike, Mike, do you understand that even the hip hop community tries to act like Jesus Walks doesn't exist?
And the fact that he said, I think one of the realest lines that he's ever said, a rapper could rap about anything except for Jesus. That's true. Rappers will rap about all kind of shit. Like, you could go out there, talk about you, shoot somebody mama house up, anything except for Jesus. And that's wild to even think.
I told you, like, Cool G Rap pretty much has a song where he's talking about, like you know what I mean, prostituting and beating his chick up. Like, the whole song.
They'll put all that stuff out. They'll put Kim out. They'll put 13 and Good out. You know what I'm saying? But they will not.
I mean, not to be funny, Kim is like prostituted herself on record like multiple times. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this is true. Stillmatic with the super chat says, so hold on. Nas drops 2 classics and I hear nothing, but Jay drops a decent verse and the world goes crazy. Get the fuck out of here. You for real? Jay-Z needs to drop an album. I agree. I told Coop this before we got on. A 4-minute verse of, listing your accomplishments when the song's about God, whatever, cool. We need an album, man. And I think he made that whole GOAT line or whatever, that had to be in reference to Nas. It always is, because that's the only person that we match him up with in that conversation. They're number 1 and 2, and Nas is number 1. And so
who's there left to talk about?
Nothing. So, until you drop an album, none of that's changing. KD3's on the way. Unknown name with the super chat says, I actually agree with Farrakhan. Mike Waller's line was the best part of the song. I grinned at that, given the context. Mad Max to the super chat says, love Nas, but he is not Jada.
What context is he talking about? Hold on,
what's the line?
This is what I'm talking about. When people are saying that, this is what I mean about, like, stop giving people passes. When he's using the Mike Wallace, the Farrakhan context, no journalist the caliber of Mike Wallace is interviewing Jay. What is he talking about? Unpack it for me. Tell me the juxtaposition where that's relative or relevant.
That line didn't really stick out to me like that. Can you find like the actual line and read the reference to it? Cause
he literally said, I feel like Mike Wallace talking to Farrakhan.
Okay, but why?
That's exactly. You see how we just give it a bunch of
trickery, man.
It's like no. Hold on. Here's how I look at it. Who's interviewed you that's credible as a journalist the way Mike Wallace is credible? Like Farrakhan sat down with a super credible journalist, like of the highest order.
I mean, again, I'm sure he's.
They just sat down with Kevin Hart, Mike. What are we doing?
Yeah, that's very valid. And no disrespect to Kevin Hart, but he's a comedian.
Kevin Hart ain't fucking Mike Wallace.
He's not a journalist.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
He's not a journalist. That's like us saying. That's like us saying
by comedians. Think about this. You're getting interviewed by comedians, and you're bringing up a Mike Wallace and Farrakhan juxtaposition when your last interview was by a comedian? I don't think so.
Hey, Joe Biden sat down with Cardi B.
Very problematic.
Mad Max in the super chat.
That was more entertaining than the Kevin Hart interview with Jay, though, because that wasn't staged. I told you he wouldn't even sip the wine on camera.
Mad Max with the super chat says, love Nas, but he's not Jada as the king of New York right now. The guys my age and younger give that Jada. A lot of them don't even listen to Nas. I understand what Mad Max is coming from.
I can respect
that. It's the energy. It's the New York energy that Jada's giving off. Nas is just making great music. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so this is what I've always said. Man, like, Nas, Big, and Jay really stopped being New York after all of their first albums.
Mm-hmm. I would say going into the 2000s.
Their first albums are all succinctly like East Coast, New York, like canonized. like, classic shit, but it's like everything after that, they belong to the streets, they belong to the people. And it's like, I hate to be the one to break it to you guys like Prodigy, Raekwon, Kiss. No. Those guys belong to New York more.
Yeah.
They're the sound of New York. So if you feel like Kiss is like on top in New York, it's like, yeah, like that's like when you that's like getting them that's like them electoral votes, Mike. It's like, yeah, you win in New York, but it's like, nigga, like did you win in Pennsylvania, in Minnesota, in Michigan?
I'm seeing in the chat people
California,
saying we're going
Texas,
to
winning those. It don't matter if you win New York if you don't win Texas and California and Florida.
I'm seeing in the chat people are saying that we're thinking it too deep. No, we can't have a 4-minute verse full of this type of verbiage and think too deep. We got to dig into this.
About it when he's the one that's juxtaposing Mike Wallace and Farrakhan in an interview. We're the one that's getting too deep.
Stillmatic with the super chat
bringing
says,
up Farrakhan and Mike Wallace, and we're getting too deep. That's very problematic. That's that hall pass that I'm talking about.
No. We're not here to do that. We're here to be fair and balanced, man. Stillmatic says Jay has verses better than this one. Out of this one, cut the crap. Yeah, cut the cap. Yeah, straight up. I saw an article, I think it was Ambrosia for Heads who posted it, talking about this is one of the best verses of Jay's career. I didn't get a chance to read the whole article.
Hold on. That's more blasphemous than what Khaled and Jay are doing. That's what
I'll send you the article. I'll let you read the article. But the fact that of all of the great work that Jay has done,
have they heard
this is,
I don't know, 96 to 2005 Hove? Have they heard that guy?
Teddy Hart with the super chat says, chomping at the bit to see how the world, anyone disagrees with JID's album, has no argument for album of the year. Yeah, I love the record. I think it is album of the year right now. Jason says, even as a Kanye fan, I feel like Donda was spiritually misguided. Watch the second and third listening parties and tell me that looks Christian. That's fair. I think from a content standpoint and the fact that, like I said, when we reviewed the album, I respected the fact that as a producer that Kanye was able to corral a bunch of talents that normally don't talk about spirituality and get them on that page and get them to make clean records without cursing. That was important to me too. Back when I was in radio, you remember Coco Brother when he was on the radio as well.
Of course.
Yeah, Coco Brother, he was kind of dabbling between that line of, Christianity and hip hop, and he ended up being on a Christian station. But I remember he came out with a mixtape or compilation or whatever it was back then, and it had, everybody of that day, David Banner, Killer Mike, and all of them on it. And they had songs where it was like all kind of cursing on it, and it said executive produced by like Jesus Christ. And I had a problem with that then. I was like 18, 17 years old. And I'm like, that just doesn't mix. And I'm not even the most super religious person like that. I mean, my father's a pastor and all of that stuff. But it's like, I think people just need to respect the beliefs in the spiritual realms in that way. And when you straddle those lines, it's like, it's problematic. That's the name of this episode. Eric Terrell with the super chat says this song. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If any other MC did this, we would be talking about it and people would not just be bypassing it. Literally anybody else. Like if Nas did this.
Well, if Nas did this,
like if Nas did this, people like the Truest and all these guys will be popping up right now and being like, hey.
No, if Nas did this, Rolling Stone will have a whole article about this.
Or they just give him like another 2-star review on a 5-star album.
Right. And call him blasphemous and all that. Eric Terrell with the
misogynistic. Don't forget misogynistic and a wife beater.
Right.
I'm going to call him a misogynistic wife beater.
Eric Terrell says the song is called God Did, but in the background it sounds like dead, not did. Khaled slipped in this song.
It's one of. Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to get to the other super chats. Go ahead.
No, get to the super chats. Okay. I actually need to go upstairs and unlock the door.
All right, Ryan Gillum with the super chat says JID's album sounds like an album that K-Dot that we wanted from K-Dot. Yes, and it's kind of funny because to me JID always sound like a Southern Kendrick. It does. It sounds like structurally, and we're gonna get to this too. Structurally, it sounded like Good Kid, Mad City. It didn't sound like the album, but the way it was put together and how well it was put together, it reminded me of that. And it reminded me of some of the way the Outkast records were put together as well, too, like at the top of their swing. Uncle Fran with the super chat says, guys, I call Jay a zip MC. Everything that he does needs to be unpacked. His masterful use of ambiguity allows him to put more in 116 than just he just has 72 to share on this one. And we're still unpacking. I want to answer to that too when we get to the rest of these super chats. Reggie Noble says, so basically, other billionaires came out of your camp, makes you the GOAT because you help free Meek, makes you the GOAT in rap. Okay, we're going to get to that too. Ohio K says, if we got KD3 and Magic 2.0 this year and Nas delivered. Born King with the super chat says Farrakhan put Mike Wallace in his place, accusing Nigeria as the most corrupt country in the world. And the minister said we're living in the most corrupt country in America. He did do that. Eric Terrell with the super chat says,
let's go to that.
What beef Jay has with Chris with the breezy line? I was wondering that too, because the breezy thing that was closely followed by the Riri thing, it was like, okay, you talking about somebody in your crew, or we talking about Chris Brown? Deontay Smith says, I think Mike Wallace is the public / social media questioning his GOAT status. It's following the lyrics where he talks about discussions on who is the GOAT. Okay, that's fair. That's adding some context to it.
There we go. So that's all I'm asking for is context. And man, that's a reach.
Marquez Davis says, shout out to Marquez Davis with the $20 super chat. He says, fellas, it's been a while. Hope everyone has been good. Everyone is right. Jay's verse was, man, just talking to be talking. I'm still waiting for Nas to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too. Now that's blasphemy. Jay Short says, Mace is somewhere feeling he's owed an apology. Unknown says Wallace attempted to chastise the minister about Nigeria's corruption, and Farrakhan masterfully responded to America having no moral high ground to stand on, and that they should remain silent. I agree with that, and I believe the minister was correct on that. But go ahead. I just want to say that.
No. He was correct on that. Was Mike Wallace incorrect about the Nigerian corruption that he was speaking about?
I think that it wasn't a balanced take. He wasn't incorrect, but he wasn't coming from a standpoint where, like the minister said, he wasn't at liberty to speak on other countries' corruptions with this country's history of corruption.
So let's speak on that. Farrakhan definitely had him on his heels. Now, to call Nigeria the most corrupt country in the world is inappropriate. But the inappropriate things that he spoke to, all of that was factual. So he just misspoke. He never lied or spoke inappropriately or improperly. The corruption was real, and the things that he was speaking about was real. The only place where he was wrong was calling them the most corrupt country in the world. Everything else he was spot on about. He was just on his heels because it was Farrakhan.
Well, I think that America
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So he misspoke one time. The rest of it's the truth.
Well, I don't know if he misspoke as opposed to being,
or he's wrong. I mean,
journalistically deceptive. You know what I mean? And it is kind of deceptive when, one's government, especially during that time and, pretty much all time, has done so much. It's hard to just point out another country.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I can unpack it on a deeper level, though, and tell you that if Mike Wallace doesn't exist, Farrakhan doesn't even get that fucking interview. You feel what I'm saying?
No. I think that even back then, like I remember when Farrakhan used to be on Donahue and, all of that. And
Farrakhan not getting that interview with Ted Brokaw, Walter Cronkite.
Right.
Not even Ed Bradley's doing that interview. Like, he got Mike Wallace, for you feel what I'm saying?
Well, the minister, obviously they have their following and, and speak truth to power. But I have to give props to the mainstream outlets that do open that door. It's like a heavyweight champ, right? Taking the fight.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Saying.
Even if you
take all challengers journalists.
Yeah.
Correct.
So even if you get knocked out, you got to give props to the champ for actually taking that fight. It was like
Hold
Apollo or Rocky or whatever.
Bro.
You know what I mean?
Hold on. That's okay. So look at it like this. Like Malcolm X terrified people about Islam in this country with his intelligence to the point that by the time it was Farrakhan's turn, the only person left who even wanted to take a turn was Mike Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. You feel what I'm saying?
And honestly, you know, for somebody to even take or give that platform and actually have a discussion, they have to agree with you on something. Because they
have
want
to
you.
think that what you're saying is relevant to what needs to be heard.
Exactly.
That's why I'm saying.
But you have to play the other side to, you know, create that. Yeah.
Right, but you have to play the. Okay, so Howard Cosell and Muhammad Ali, Mike.
Yeah, exactly.
On camera.
Exactly.
Behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I need 50 G's. I got you, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Let's get to the song. You want to get to the song?
Yeah, let's get to the song. We're everywhere.
This is a great episode, though. All right.
We knew this beforehand. We've been talking about this episode since yesterday.
What did you think about the song God did?
I think, okay, so let's go back to Beast from the East. I'm consistent. I don't like these long verses like that. Capodanno on Winter Wars, I told you the same thing. Remember when all of y'all got on me that episode when we were ending the show and I was like, oh, that Kappa verse on Winter Wars too long. And everybody's like, oh, Coop, you crazy. That's one of the best rap verses of all time. I'm like, rapping for 2.5 minutes doesn't make it one of the best rap verses of all time.
You're not that big on Kappa,
your delivery and your flow is on point. That's what happens when you MC all the time.
Hold on, this is what I will say about that. I know you're not a huge Kappa guy. And I think where Winter Wars is different, Winter Wars is kind of like CeeLo on Goodie Bag. It's like he just caught wreck. It almost feels like a cycle. Yes. You know what I mean?
Okay, so listen,
now, Beast from the East is not that. Beast from the East is not that.
Like 90 seconds of wreck, like on Goodie Bag, and like 250 seconds of wreck, like on Winter Wars. Oh, that's different. And here's the other thing too. Those guys don't even get to stunt like that if both of those hooks aren't fire. Raekwon's hook on Winter Wars is fire.
The beat's crazy.
The Goodie Bag is fire. Literally, put some fire on the ass end of that weed, because in the Swats, red hots don't drip or bleed. People don't even know what the Swats was yet.
Yeah. Southwest
unless you were down here.
Yeah.
Or from here.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So like they needed that, just like they couldn't have just jumped out and did those verses without that song structure, without those hooks. Yes, this shit is raw coming at your door. Start to scream out loud. Wu-Tang's back for more. Yes, Verbal Intercourse doesn't have a hook. Children's Story by Slick Rick, they don't have a hook.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, so if you want to go to a long verse that's lyrically precise, like an on point, Children's Story would be the moment. Is this Children's Story level? That's 2 minutes and 30 seconds of real fucking like lyrical storytelling and magnificent brilliance.
I'm glad you brought that song up, because I feel like for a long verse like that, you have to be telling a story some way.
No, you have to be brilliant too.
I think like even when you talk about,
you need to be brilliant. Other than that, it's just like, oh, well, you did some. He checked a lot of boxes. You ever dated a girl that checked a lot of boxes but didn't do the deal, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like,
what did you think of the song overall, though? I know we skipped over to the verse.
That song is just good, and it's mostly good because of Wayne. Now Wayne's great on there.
I think Ross has a lot to do with it too, because I feel like with Ross, they placed Ross on this record so they could take on that Maybach music feel.
Yeah, you have to.
He sets it off. And I called this last episode. I said they were going to go Ross, Wayne, Jay. Didn't I say that?
You did say that. Okay, so Ross is one of the best tone setters ever, because he's bringing that Maybach sound with him, and everybody wants to ride that wave.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to ride that wave.
Yep.
It's like what beat does Ross want to ride to? We'll all ride to that.
Because if Ross isn't on that song, what's the beat sound like?
That's what I'm saying.
The beat's going to be way different. Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack thing number one. Hold on, let me go to my notes.
Okay.
Go to my notes.
I think they used Ross for the sound, and Ross did his thing on there.
Ross picked that beat. That's what that's my note. Ross picked that beat.
Yeah.
He always picking these beats. That's how you can, like, when Ross picks the beat now, he's the best beat picker ever. He is. He's the best beat picker ever. As far as an MC goes, there's not an MC that picks better beats than him. You know when he picks the beats. Like, how about this? When he did Accident Murderers with Nas, Nas picked that beat.
This goes right in the Maybach Music series. Like, if you just took off God Did or whatever and put Maybach Music 6 or whatever, it's there.
This Maybach Music 15. Okay?
Exactly. This is Ross's song.
It all...
to be honest.
The feel, but that's what I mean about what he's the best beat picker ever. Well, everybody wants to jump into his world because he picks the beats that it's like, well, what movie and what story are we telling? Now, Wayne's the real star of this song, much like, and listen to what I'm about to say, the same way Jay Electronica is the real star of the Control song with Big Sean.
Definitely.
He's got the real actual bar working verse, but because of the person.
And because of the length.
And because of the length.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. This is where, and I was talking to my man Mark out there in the Bronx. Shout out to Mark. I know he's listening. And he said something that made me think. He was like, you know, with him rapping for 4 minutes, why didn't he just do the song, a solo song? And I'm like, you're right. And then I thought about it, like I said. I feel like they needed Ross for the feel. And I feel like Wayne was thrown on there so that the generation that feels like Wayne is the greatest rapper ever can hear this.
They needed to hear him because look, how about this? If you feel that way about him, he gave you some evidence.
I feel like this.
Gave you some evidence. This is one of his coherent, lyrically, like, astounding verses.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. We always not.
And he's been coherent and lyrically astounding for about 2 years straight now. And when he's like that, he is one of the best rappers ever. And he is the best rapper of his generation when he's rapping that way. How about that?
Wayne gets knocked a lot for, like you said, being all over the place. He actually stuck to the theme.
He is coherent and focused. How about this? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, the song was supposed to be about what God did for you, right? Or at least that's what I feel like it's about, because the whole feel even the hook sounds very gospel-esque. It sounds like Maybach Music mixed with like gospel chorus type of vibes going on, right? And Wayne comes in there and he sticks to the topic. He talks about his influence, but he talks about God putting him in position to do so.
He comes off as thankful but confident.
Exactly. And again, when it comes to Jay's verse,
like
me. Even with the whole Kanye, LeBron, Rihanna line about them being billionaires, he had to make sure.
Like that line.
He had to make sure he said.
That's good money talk. That was good money talk.
But he also had to make sure he said he was first. They come from his crib. And, and what about Dr.
That's
Dre?
That's incorrect. No. There's evidence. No. That's correct. It's evidence. There's evidence. I'm not going to knock that one.
I'm not going to knock that. Listen, I don't want it to come across that I'm knocking that. But
I'm not saying you're knocking that. I'm just saying there's evidence. There's evidence, and that was super fly money talk. I like that moment.
It was very fly how he did it. But did he start Yeezys?
I like that.
Did he start Yeezys?
I mean, he
did that. Did he?
Okay,
listen,
so here's
will LeBron be LeBron?
Oh my God,
hold on. Will LeBron be LeBron with or without the association?
Let me defend Jay and say that he's been some of the motivation and inspiration, and also someone who has opened up the door to provide the platform for them to be who they are. And so I think he is speaking. He's speaking like the Godfather. You know what I mean? Like, he's like Pat Riley now, like sitting up, like you know what I'm saying?
Well, I've said on this show before.
He's not coaching the team like he used to. Like, he's running the team now, and he's looking back on the rings that he's won. And it's like, oh, remember when we bought Ree in the office and won a couple rings? Remember we bought Ye in and we won a couple rings? Remember when Braun came on and we won a couple rings and we helped him put that? No, he was part of all of that. And so, like, he gets to talk that shit and he put it together really well. I don't want to knock that.
No, I'm not knocking that.
Because it's inspirational. Like, when he said that, I was like, oh, all four of them are really super wealthy and bossy.
It is inspirational.
And I do love that.
It's very inspirational.
It's sincerely inspirational.
As great as LeBron is, I'm pretty sure that he's giving LeBron advice behind the scenes that has gotten him business wise
LeBron
to
has said
certain
so.
points.
LeBron
Yeah.
has said that early on. Like that's the talk that you don't hear anymore because LeBron's like really, really a grown man now. But Jay-Z is somebody that like LeBron could call like early on to help navigate some of these waters he was unfamiliar with. He looked up to him not only artistically and musically, but his business acumen has always been high, Mike. He walked into the game with an extremely high business acumen.
Of course he did.
He's 26 going on 27. He was a grown-ass man. He had already won, lost, and won again. He's a smart businessman.
Of course. And again, that platform that those guys set and the tone that was set and that Jay-Z had set business-wise obviously was an inspiration. But
it's inspirational and it's changed generational wealth. Like what him and Puff and Master P and Russell Simmons.
Yeah.
Yep. Like what those guys have done. Jay Prince. Whether you like it or not, Suge to a degree.
Of course, Suge. Yeah, nah, Suge.
Yeah, whether you like it or not, you know what I mean?
Like, whatever. Your work is your work. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you put in the work and you put people in position, you put people in position. It is what it is.
Tony Draper, Too Short, like these guys.
But do you think that a song
and their entrepreneurship, they have changed the generational wealth and opportunities for Black people within their format and that diagram, and seeing how we only make up 13% of this nation, 16%. I count the 13% because the 16%, but 3% of us are incarcerated. So it's like 13%. No, that's massive generational wealth improvement about jobs that you can fucking inhabit in this community. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't believe those numbers, but, whatever. We'll never really know. But what I was going to say, though,
do you think, us, so I believe them.
I want to ask you this, though. Do you think that a song called God Did is the appropriate platform to, put on all those flexes, though?
Well, to say this appropriately, and I mean this when I say this, well, hell no.
That's where I'm coming from with it, and we all know.
I know where you're
we all know. Listen, man, we're not new to this. We all know where Rihanna, the association. We know the Kanye association, all that stuff. But this is supposed to be about something else. At least I thought it was. And again,
you want to know what I would have really liked?
Go ahead.
You want to know what would have been bossy? And I thought about this when I listened, because I was listening to the track on the way here. I was like, it really would have been nice if he would have had Ree on the hook.
Yeah. I think
like,
that Wayne
that would
showed
have been
us
bossier than the money talk. It's like, can you get Riri to sing the hook though?
I think that Wayne showed us on the verse before that you could give praise to, the title and still talk about your
20
impact.
Years ago.
Huh?
That's what I'm saying. Jesus Walks covered this ground 20 years ago. So it's okay. So you don't have to tiptoe. You don't have to pussyfoot. You just need to do it well. I don't know if an 8-minute song with Jay doing, this is Jay's best verse since Drug Dealers Anonymous. Let's just say that. I think I'm more of a fan of the verse than you are, actually. This is actually a really dope verse, and this is better than the shit that he has been doing. I'm not even talking about the limp. I'm talking about the breath control, the vocal inflection, the way he is switching the levels of his voice at the drop of the dime, the way he knows when to pause and where to pause because he is taking so long. Like, these are masterful things. So there's some masterful shit going on, but he's
even with
also
it being that long verse like this.
But he's also the guy that I objectively have as being the second greatest MC of all time. So it's like, I mean, I'm not surprised at any of this. Exactly. And it's like, so, okay. I'm surprised at Magic. I'm not surprised by this. And that's what I'm saying. And I hate to compare because people feel like I'm comparing. But I'm just saying, this is a really
he brought up the GOAT discussion.
It's better than all the other stuff he's been putting out. Go ahead.
He brought up the GOAT discussion. So you're not out of line for comparing. Because he brought up the GOAT conversation in the verse.
Who else is he talking about?
Exactly. Who else are we talking about?
At this point? What are we doing?
Listen.
What are we doing?
Well, what I was going to say, man, I think that, I lost my train of thought.
Because we don't know what we're doing. That's what I'm saying. We don't know what we're doing. It's like we know who you were talking about.
Well, what I was going to say, that's what I was going to say. I know you're not usually a fan of long verses like that. So you even got this verse over What's Free from Meek Mills?
Yeah, this is his best verse since Drug Dealers Anonymous. I do agree with the person that made that sentiment. I found myself entertained.
What makes this verse better than What's Free to you?
Huh?
What makes this verse better than What's Free to you?
The entertainment value for me, I think, is better.
I think don't take
How
this
about this?
too wrong.
Listen,
I
hold
feel
on.
like
Can I
it
say
kind of
something?
got
I will give
boring.
you this. No, I do want to say this.
Uh-huh.
The part that I am impressed about the length is the fact that while I haven't heard him rhyme at this length by himself, I mean, it's been a minute.
I don't think ever. I mean, I would have to go back to a record where it's like a story where we're talking about like.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you got to go back to like Dear Summer Times, like where he, you know what I'm saying?
That ain't
It's
even 4 minutes. I was gonna say the song off the Blueprint too. You know what I'm talking about.
Hovey Baby?
No, not Hovey Baby.
Meet the Parents?
Meet the Parents, yeah.
Yes. So this is what I'm saying.
But
That's
that's a
prime J.
story.
That hold on, no. That time, that's prime lyrical J. Now listen to what I'm saying. For him to be at the age that he's at and to not be in album mode, Mike, and to be able to do this.
Well, see, this is the thing.
No. I don't want to hear that. I don't write it stuff like damn all of that. Even the fact that you at this age and stage can memorize it and flip it. And this is what I mean about how he's brilliant. Well, he knows when to change his voice and his inflection to help his breath control to carry himself through. Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Let me get to these super chats. You think it's verse of the year contender?
No, I do not think that. I think it's the best verse that he's done. How about this? No. Not since Drug Dealers Anonymous. It's the best verse since Ghost of Soldier Slim.
Okay. Mad Max says, Hove don't like Chris because of the Riri thing. Well,
neither do I.
Born King says, honestly, Christianity as a whole has no boundaries. Clearly. Unfortunately. Flipper says, Breezy is Jay Brown. Riri's manager, business partner. Thank you. Now, even with that being said, we know what he knows people are gonna think. You know what I'm saying? It's the double entendre thing. Yeah.
You want to know what his entendre game on here isn't like stupid crazy.
Yeah.
It's more of a traditional dope ass verse, and I like that from him because here's what I mean. The only part where I felt like he was trying too hard. How about this? The only part where I felt like he had to try is that I was like, okay, if you're going to rap this long, you're going to have to vocally do things different to get yourself through it, which is what he did. He's got if I'm counting correctly, he's got 4 different vocal pitches on here. You know what I mean? That's like a singer, you know what I mean? Singing it, going to the alto soprano. That's what I mean. So it checks a lot of boxes like that because if a singer's doing their runs and it's like, oh, I hear your falsetto. I hear your tenor. I hear your low soprano. I hear your high soprano. It's like, oh, we're good here. They're ready to go. Put this motherfucker on stage, please. You feel what I'm saying? So
some people said that
when you want to hear an album, no. Listen, when I'm saying you want to hear an album, you should want to hear an album because guess what? He still sounds good. He can still do his runs. That's why you should be impressed by this. You shouldn't be impressed like verse of the year impressed. You should be impressed as like, oh, this dude ain't been doing no album work in about 5 years. The verses for the last 2-3 years have been subpar outside of some of the stuff on the J Electronica stuff. And he went and just did this. It's like, that's part of the reason why he's in the conversation to be the greatest MC of all time, because he can pull up and do shit like this, but it's not verse of the year.
Well, this is what I thought when I first heard it, right? Because I listened to it at midnight and I was listening to it.
I'm defending Jay.
I was listening to it on my headphones or whatever, and the first thing I thought, like, oh, this is a Common from College Dropout moment. But like you said, Common had an album on the way. And I agree with something you said beforehand when Jay said he wasn't working on an album, and I said I believed him. And you said you didn't because he's competitive?
I don't.
Now I'm with you. He's
Did you just hear
working
this
on
verse?
stuff.
I'm trying to tell you.
He's working
you just
on
rap
something.
for 4 minutes.
You don't
Mike.
rap for 4 minutes.
Yourself.
Yeah. You don't rap for 4 minutes on a DJ Khaled project and not be working on music. Stop that. Let's be real here, guys.
Did you believe Tom Brady retired, Mike? It's like retired. I was like, this motherfucker addicted to crack cocaine. What are you talking about?
Especially when Nas just dropped Magic and KD2, and you drop a long verse like this and KD3's on the way, and you're not working on anything, I don't believe you. I'm sorry. I don't. I can't.
I don't believe these guys.
No.
Like,
because again, Jay has never had to, like you said.
God bless the dead, Mike. If Kobe doesn't tear his Achilles that late, Kobe doesn't even retire in season 20. He's like, I'm going to play 25 years. He's addicted to crack cocaine. Like, it's addicted to the game.
Well, yeah. You're addicted to being the best, too, and being thought of as the best. And in certain circles, it was always debatable But now the people who are really following what's going on and we're seeing what Nas is doing recently, it's not even debatable. Even with the biggest Jay-Z fans, I have switched over because the facts is just the facts, and he's seeing these things. Not saying he's seeing us specifically, but hip hop heads understand what's going on, right? You know what I mean? So the competitiveness in him, he's not sitting here not working on anything. He's never had to make a 4-minute long verse, Coop. Ever. Ever.
Damn lie. I'm not working on any music. I'm not making an album. It's a
Come
damn
on,
lie.
bro. It's
You a
not
damn
true.
lie.
It's not true.
Stop lying. It's not true. I told you it's not true. I don't believe that. You asked me, like, do you believe that? It's like, I don't believe that
It's not
shit
true.
for a minute.
But again, 444
It's like Tom
happened.
Brady. It's like, I told you, Mike, that said Tom Brady.
Well, see,
Michael
444 happened at a state
Bryant.
where 444 happened at a state where for most
KD,
people,
LeBron.
cool.
Sorry.
444
lying.
happened
You
at a
addicted.
state where, you know, for a lot of people, he was, comfortably ahead of Nas. So he can make an album like that where it's like, I'm Jay, I'll do whatever. But now the pressure's on. Since 444, we've gotten Nasir, Katie, KD2, Magic, getting KD3 on the way, and you drop a 4-minute verse, and we're supposed to think that you're not working on anything? Come
This is what I'm about to tell you. I think KD3 is dropping next week, Mike.
on. That would be amazing.
He's just been waiting on Khaled, I think. I think he's been waiting on Thought. He's cool with Game. He's cool with Khaled. He loves Cole and what Cole is doing. He's letting all these guys pass and get their little moment.
I mean, as they should. I mean, because, like I said, KD2 and Magic alone
Well, he's
last
in
year
pole
is
position.
enough.
That's what you do when you're in pole position. You're just like, no, I wait. I'm in the lead. I wait the
Listen,
pit stop. I'm in the lead.
He's
I'm
in the
pit
lead
stop
by a
with 4
good
laps left.
margin. He's in the
I'm a
lead
pit
by a
stop with
good
4
margin.
laps left, and then I'm going to speed off on these motherfuckers the last 4 laps.
It's crazy for me to say this, man. He's in the lead by a good margin because when we started this podcast 2 years ago, and this was before KD1 dropped, I thought Jay was ahead by a pretty decent margin. But it's funny what 2 years can do, right?
Hold on, Mike. I thought Andre was a top 5 MC all time 2 years ago when we put it up.
Things change.
All right, things
When
change.
you got to
Shit
put
change.
the facts on the table, things change. We got Trey 9 Mo with the super chat says the context is when Farrakhan said, "I think y'all should keep quiet." Jay was referencing that from the interview. Definitely.
Oh, well, can we address that right quick? Well, who he telling to keep quiet? Because ain't nobody really criticized him except for my ass.
Well, that's true. It's kind of like when you hear these Khaled songs and he be like, they didn't want us to win. They didn't this and that. It's like, who is they? It seems like everybody's on Khaled's team.
Let's keep this shit funky, Mike, because even though, you haven't been critical, you've just said, I'm sliding him to number 2. I've been critical. Who are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Born King with the
nobody else is critical. And I've checked, Mike, I be checking. Nobody else is critical.
No one else is.
Nobody.
Most of the mainstream publications, they don't criticize any effort that Jay puts out.
They don't give him no flex. They're afraid to give him flex.
Every time he puts out
I'd be flexing. I'd be like, oh, no. He's a human being, Mike. He's a human being and a person. Did you know that? Did you know that he's a human being and a person and he deserves the same criticism and critique as everybody else?
Well, this is the thing.
Did you know that?
This is the thing. This is all music, and we're all into the music, and we're judging the music. This isn't about the individual. I run into this whenever I run into this whenever I discuss Eminem's material. People try to make it personal about Eminem. It's not about Eminem. It's about what I'm hearing through the waves of the sonics. That's all I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the person and this. I don't like him for that. I don't know these people. I just know the music. That's it.
Right.
Warren King with the super chat says, man, Farrakhan didn't need an interview from him. We're really behind. Let me get to these super chats. Unknown says,
we're still talking about the Farrakhan Mike Wallace shit.
No, I think that these are the ones that we
piss people off. We can argue about it.
Unknown name says Mike Wallace was being disingenuous. Remove the beam out of your own eyes, and then you can see clearly. Remove the speak out of your brother's eye. Let's see. We got Marquez Davis with the super chat.
Mike, hold on, Mike. Stop for a second. That's actually a scripture that he's speaking of about removing the yoke out of your own eye.
Right. Marquez Davis with the super chat says his verse on What's Free, Drug Dealers Anonymous, I seen it all with Jeezy, etc. are better than this verse. I don't know why people are acting like this is his best verse ever. Nas has people scared. I agree with that. I think that the hype is more so about. I mean, we saw Young Guru weeks ago say Jay is the greatest, no debate. It's like you're trying to continuously pound into people's heads like you're not seeing what you're seeing. I mean, we're seeing what we're seeing, man. KD2, Magic, and KD1 exist. It is what it is. He's done it in a 2-3 year period at the latter part of his career. So we're supposed to act like that's not happening? As fans of music, this ain't about the individuals. Like, as fans of music, we're supposed to act like this isn't happening. You're not seeing what you're seeing, Coop. You're not hearing what you're hearing. Magic never happened.
I mean, I don't even know what to say to that, man.
More people are talking about this verse than Magic when it dropped on December 24th.
Mike, more people are talking about this than okay. So listen to exactly what I'm saying.
JID just dropped the album of the year contender too at the same time, you know. And I'm sitting there listening to a lot of these verses. I'm like, this is the verse we're talking about?
MCs don't go on 3 album runs like this typically that are Hall of Fame MCs. This is like
Brady winning the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay.
This is his 3rd time going on a run like this.
Yeah, it's special. Listen, I counted Nas out. I didn't think Nas had it in him.
You and me used to argue.
I was rating Nas by his legacy.
I'm going to take people back. Before I even joined According to Hip Hop, Mike and I have known each other for 20 years now. But Mike will pull up on Facebook sometimes and be like, Nas is boring. I can't fuck with it. I'd be like, Nas is not boring. Nas is the greatest MC of all time. This is 3 or 4 years before I joined According to Hip Hop. And me and Mike on Facebook would have 2 and 3 day long debates on Facebook about whether Nas is boring or not. You know? And really, and let me submit something to you. He's the one that's the real paradigm shifter of the rhetoric. Kanye's the culture paradigm shifter. Nas is the rhetoric paradigm shifter. It sounded boring because we're about 5-6 years younger than him, and what he was going through, we couldn't relate to. Look at all that stuff that you called boring when we were a little bit younger and how it's aged on you.
You're right. 100%. It's like, okay, I understand now. This is where life is.
I understand him. No, I can't even talk. Like when Jay was talking on this verse, he's like, y'all ain't even been to the Bahamas. I was like, oh, I know this nigga's not talking about me. I've been covered that shit about 15, 16 years ago. He talking about these other niggas out here. Talking about these little niggas. You can't talk about me. I spent 10 days in Italy. Like I spent fucking 10 days in France. I spent 10 days everywhere when I go somewhere. You feel me?
Michael Williams with the super chat says, if this were a Jay solo song and split into 2 or 3 verses, will we feel differently? I don't know. And see, this is my answer to that.
Can he split these verses up and give it a hook and make it a song is the question.
The song would not be called God Did with him spitting 3 verses about himself.
It would be called Hov Did.
Exactly.
And that would be even more problematic than what we're discussing and unpacking than that.
Born King with the super chat says Shaky Dog by Ghost was fire. Yes, it was. Eric Terrell with the super chat says, so M is a gospel rapper now. Now, this is what I will say. I feel like Eminem did a better job of sticking to that theme than most people on this project. And I was actually really impressed by where Eminem took it. Now, again, I don't like the fact that Eminem hadn't responded to Game. I think he should respond. And if he doesn't respond, I never want to hear that narrative that, don't nobody want it with Eminem. Eminem's going to end people's career, blah, blah, blah stuff again. That shit is dead. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not responding to this. But outside of that, with this record, I was impressed by this record. He really dug deep. He really stuck to the theme. And for the first time ever, I actually heard Eminem give praise to the Most High in somebody, outside of himself. He was very vulnerable in this, and I'm very impressed with it. To be perfectly honest. More impressed with his performance than Jay-Z's performance. That's crazy for me to say, but I'm just being honest.
Can I tell you something?
Go ahead.
I'm impressed with you for making those sentiments. I actually still prefer Jay's verse to M's verse, but I agree with you about all the things that you said. And I think it means more that you say it, because I think what's important about what we're doing is that, sometimes in what we do, the biases come into play and people think that we are being biased. And so for people to know how you feel about Jay and even how your sentiment has pivoted slightly, sliding him from number 1 to number 2, which is what I would call a slight pivot. Putting somebody at number 1 to number 2 is a slight pivot. It's not a major upheaval. It's not a major upheaval. It's a slight pivot. I'm putting you right here. I'm taking you one place down. For you to say that about M's verse in relationship to Jay's verse, well, it says a lot because of what people have been saying about what you've been saying. And it means that you are listening objectively. What I would submit to you is that I feel like he has done those things that you're talking about on this record. He just hasn't done them to this beat in this moment with this person. Right. And so moments matter, production matters, which is why I've not excoriated Dr. Dre for his role in Eminem not being more part of the hip hop lexicon in terms of the canon of it. But this is what I'm talking about, where it's like, well, some of this shit on Dre, because part of why this works is the beat. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, this is true. What I was going to say, though, sonically, obviously, the way that Jay approaches a record is more friendly to my ear. But I think that when you actually start bringing in themes like, you know, basically like what he said, gospel rap, or we're talking about speaking about, you know, spirituality, I think that Eminem accomplished that much more than Jay did on his verse. I just do. I think that the braggadocious rhyming is great for maybe another platform, but not great for that song. And maybe not even great for that album. And a lot of that could be on Khaled, right? I mean, because this is his album, and he should be the one directing the situation. Like, look, no, that's not where we're going on this, right? So a lot of that could be on him. But I have to give Eminem props for the fact that, and like you said, maybe he's done this on some of the efforts that I maybe skipped over. But he took this theme and it sounded believable, it sounded real for him, and he accomplished that. And there's no way, just because Jay-Z rapped a lot of bars and rapped for 4 minutes, that I could say I'm more impressed with what Jay did than what M did, because I've never really heard M take it there to that level, and I've heard Jay do these things. You know what I'm saying?
So here's what I would tell you. Let's go back to the 4, 3, 2, 1 conversation. I'm sorry. Water went down the wrong pipe.
That's all good. We here. We got a bunch of people in the room, man. We appreciate y'all being here too, man. This is a great conversation.
No, thank you, everybody. We need to stop for a second when we get done with the Khaled album and get to our sponsor too.
Yeah, we'll do that. And also, you know, if you guys want to, because we're going to actually play some of this music on our Monday joint on Patreon. We got Patreon pinned up to the top, so you guys can join that discussion as well. So on the Patreon, we're bringing people in, talking to y'all about this stuff, and actually playing the music as well. So click that link so you can join the Patreon. This Monday show is going to be really lit. We got a lot of music to go through.
All the stuff that drops on Friday, we get to play on Monday on our Patreon show and really dissect it and break it down. We had a wonderful breakdown 2 weeks ago on the Black Thought in the Game and even the Meg album.
And I can't wait to change your mind on the JID album too, because that's
You're not changing my mind, Mike. I still have it high. No, Mike, I have it high. This is an easy top 10 album this year, in borderline top 5.
It's top 5.
So don't get I don't want you to get me confused. I don't want you to get me confused about not liking it. I just don't love it the way I think that you did. But I have all my notes up, and we're going to break down my notes. We want to finish up with the Khaled thing and get to the sponsors. Here's what I would tell you, and I want to go back to the 4, 3, 2, 1 thing. When I was in high school, my boy Hub, he's a Michael too. That's why Michael never works as a rap name. There are too many of y'all running around. Guess what? One of my best friends from high school, his name is Michael. Guess what? Your name is Michael. Guess what my younger brother's name is? Michael. That's why Michael's not going to work for a rap name unless you're going to put Archangel in front of it, which is going to be very problematic. Right. So when Cannabis was doing all those verses, I was like, and this is what I mean about Beast from the East, Mike. I felt this way in high school. It's like, he's great. I'm like, can he write a song? I say, because I feel like that nigga DMX can write a song.
You were right.
You can go ask my boy Hub. When 4, 3, 2, 1 dropped, I was like, no. I was like, I know technically he's better. I'm like, but give me him. And Hub used to pick on me in homeroom every day. Ski mask for it, baby. I was like, you just wait. I'm like, you just wait. You get what I'm saying?
You know what? It's funny you say that, because that line right there kind of lets you know that he could make a song. You
No,
asked
that's what
for it,
I'm
baby.
saying.
Yeah,
I heard the guy that can make the song, not the
yeah.
lyrical miracle.
You're right.
And so now look at how Cannabis's first album went, and look at how DMX's first album went. And what I would submit to you on the back end of this is like, no, I can tell from the shit that Nas drops that he still knows how to make a song. I do not know that about Jay from this verse. And what was he always ahead of Nas on up until this run? Catalog.
Yeah, song
What's the
making.
catalog about?
Again, I don't think
It's the song making. So I don't care if you're rapping for 4 minutes. It would be actually more impressive if Nas were to rap for 4 minutes because he's the one that's looked at as the more abstract thinker.
Yeah. Let me get to some of these super chats.
Jay's Emmitt Smith. It's 5 yards in a cloud of dust, couple 20-yard runs. I'm going to get 1,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, making first or second and third team All-Pro.
Stillmatic with the super chat says, so who has the best ear for beats, Game or Ross? I'm
Ross.
going Ross.
Said Ross, ever.
Yeah.
I'll take, like, if Rick Ross is in the studio, he should pick the beat, and it doesn't matter who else is in the room. Like that. That's what we're rapping to.
That's what the song sounds like.
In the story. Everybody should sit around and wait for him to say that.
Dead Rich says, Dead Rich says, Jay sounded like he listens to y'all's show. Allegedly.
Hold on. Can we stop? I just said that to Mike behind the scenes. I said, Mike, did you catch the verse? I said,
who knows, man? Leroy Green listens to the show. We know that.
No, damn that. We talked to Leroy on Monday. We know who Leroy is. We talked to Leroy. I seen Leroy with my own eyes.
Douglas Vicker says M's verse on Nas's song and Jay's verse on this song are set in the Guinness Book of World Record for feature length. Jay Short with the super chat says Jay is creeping into Eminem territory. Shock value. Yeah, you know what? That length of that verse really made me think that too. That's problematic. Because really,
that's shady. I don't know if I like that.
No, based on both super chats, the first thing that I heard when I heard how long the verse was, because normally he doesn't do that, I'm like, man, this is EPMD too.
Did you say that to yourself, really?
I did.
I didn't even say that to myself. I didn't.
Mad Max to the super chat says, whoever idea to change John Legend's sound, goated for that because John Legend sounded dope. Eric Terrell says, Mike, you was correct on how Legend would sound. I did predict that too. I mean, John Legend sounds the same every record, man. Let's keep it real, man. He needs Kanye.
Every time I see him on a hook, I just hear "We Gonna Be Rich Forever" in the background.
Exactly. That's the approach. Because, it's not... This is the thing, man. I love John Legend, especially his first 2 albums. Once again, it's one of my favorite R&B albums of that era.
I don't really like that album.
I love that album. Save Room, beautiful. Heaven Only Knows, beautiful.
It sounds like it sounds like Wonder. It sounds like the Stevie Wonder records that didn't get released in its prime.
Slow Dance, Maxine. I love that album. But
yeah, I'm gonna say that again. That's exactly what it sounds like.
But what I was gonna say though is the fact that he's become very predictable in that sense. And when we have these R&B discussions, John Legend's name never comes up. Like when they talk about R&B being dead, king of R&B, blah, 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 they never even think about John Legend. And I think that's because his style's kind of strayed away from the soulful John Legend that we know
of. What is his style?
His style is more so, and I'm taking this from Twitter. Twitter says John Legend makes music for white people's weddings. That's what they say. That's what the public says now. And so... it's problematic in many senses, and I feel like the only time that he is brought into black music is when he does that Rich Forever thing. So that's why it's predictable.
White people's wedding.
That's what Twitter said. Twitter said that. I didn't say that. I didn't make that up. I'm not that creative.
Whoa.
007 with the super chat says flights delayed on the track. LOL. Yo, check out the Ain't songs these hymns, cause I'm him is songs 151. This the New Testament, the book of Job. Safe to say he's listening to Magic. Album time, Jigga. I think that bar, again, for me, building up to that bar, and Jay's very, very intelligent, one of the most incredible lyricists ever. building up to talking about everything that he's done for everybody, and then going into that bar, it feels like the song called God Did and the fact that Hove did is trending. It feels like he's almost putting himself in a godly place. You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's what I was saying. Okay. I'm going to let you inside my life a little bit, Mike. You know what I do every morning when I wake up?
What's that?
I read a psalm and I read a proverb. Want to go through 151 psalm right quick?
151, just for the people out there, isn't 151 missing in a lot of biblical?
Not found. Yeah, not in the King James version.
Right. It's not in the King James version. King James left it out. But yes, please go through the because I have it written in my notes. But yeah, you go through it.
First of all, most of the Psalms is written by King David.
Right. Correct.
Even biblically, if I could just contextualize him in the Old Testament, he is considered to be in God's love and favor, only placed ahead by Jesus himself. So literally in God's heart of the people who have walked this earth, it goes Jesus, David. So when we're talking about the blasphemy, when you're speaking in Psalms, you're speaking in the context of David, whom loved God the most and whom God loved back and gave favor to the most.
Correct.
Okay? And this is what I mean about that shaky ground that you walk on, because people that know that, it's like, are you contextualizing yourself to David? Because here's also the thing too. David also murdered and committed adultery. What a lot of people don't understand about David is that part of why David had God's favor and love is because David did wrong. David never committed the same sin twice. As in, when David was wrong, he was contrite, showed contrition, never repeated the sin again, literally would wail in sorrow. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is the guy that's saying, thinking back when we first learned to use rubbers, he didn't learn, so in return, I'm kidnapping his baby's mother. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's the same guy saying life short, so play hard and stick hard. Only time you love them is when you dick hard. You feel what I'm saying? These type of transgressions are repeated multiple times on record. Do not tell me they were not repeated in life.
Now he's also said...
So just the comparison to David is inappropriate and improper. You get it?
I get you. But he's also denounced Big Pimpin', to be fair.
I don't care about that. Just the relationship and the appropriation of the relationship to David is inappropriate and improper just off the repetition of sin. This is what I'm talking about. You can kick that shit to people who don't know, but when you talk to somebody who does, like somebody that might wake up and read Proverbs and Psalms every day. Let's get to it.
Yeah, get to it. 151. Songs 151.
Because this is why he feels that way. I'm going to tell you, because he's a smart guy. I was the smallest of my brothers, the youngest of my father's sons, which I believe for him is true. He made me shepherd of his flock, ruler over their young. My hands made a flute, music.
Mm-hmm.
Right. My fingers a lyre. Let me give glory to the Lord, I thought to myself. The mountains cannot witness God. The hills cannot proclaim him, but the trees have cherished my words. You see what I'm saying? About how he's contextualizing it to him and making the comparison, which is why I'm bringing up who David is in faith and in spirit.
When I heard this bar, I couldn't wait to hear you contextualize it. So go.
The seed of David got snuck in. Okay, so Adam's lifespan got shortened 30 years. Adam, the first man, was supposed to live to be 1,000. He lived 970 years. His seed literally got snuck in because the devil knows everything that God knows, is that he's not God. He tried to kill David before David ever came to be. So David's life is a miracle unto itself. Adam sacrificed the last 30 years of his life so that the seed of David could live. This is true biblical lineage and glory. Tribe of Abraham. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
You are not this. You are not that. You feel what I'm saying? When you were talking this way, you feel what I'm saying?
No, I feel
this
you.
is the real tribe. You are not part of the real tribe. You have no proof or no evidence to that. Do not speak and contextualize yourself in this manner because you're the youngest of your father's kids and because you dabbled in music. Do you get what I'm saying about the dangerous territory? Listen to this. But the trees have cherished my words. You see how the trees, see, there weren't people around David back then. When David used to be out in the fields, you see his brothers, they vilified him. So all he had was the flock of sheep and the trees and God to sing to. So he's also making it seem like he's been vilified and ostracized like David. This motherfucker, the high school quarterback of the varsity team. You feel what I'm saying? Right. He is most popular in class. You are not David. David
we can even see based on the reaction of this verse alone.
David was shunned.
Yeah.
You've never been shunned.
Yeah.
You talking Psalm 151? You better get Mike.
Let me repeat the bar again. He said, "These ain't songs, these are hymns, because I am him." This is Jay-Z. Yeah, this is Jay-Z's bars now. He said,
hymns.
"These, these ain't songs,
which is David."
Yeah, these ain't songs, these are hymns, because I am him. It's the songs 151. This is New Testament, the book of Hov. Jesus turned water to wine. For Hov, it just took a stove.
So you're comparing to selling crack to Jesus turning water to wine. It is literally the most blasphemous thing that I've ever heard on record.
And honestly,
you're comparing Jesus because here's what people forget: he wasn't just turning water to wine; he had fed a whole flock before he turned the water to wine.
Correct.
You talking about crack?
It's dangerous. And I think the part that...
It's not dangerous. That's just stupid and ignorant. Let's call it what it is. You comparing Jesus taking a flock and feeding the people to you selling crack? Like, are you fucking stupid? Maybe somebody need to tell him.
Let me get to the super chats real quick.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, kick that Farrakhan, Mike Wallace, Psalm 151 shit to somebody who don't know better. This is what's wrong with people like him leading people, because when people like me are informed and call them out on it, I get called a hater. It's like, no, that motherfucker need help. How about that? I'm going to help his ass today, though, since he's watching us, because some of them bars is about us. Since you watching us, you're not David. You're not anything close. And on top of that, why all the Muslims spend so much time talking about Christian prophets? Talk about Muhammad when you spit verses, since you're so concerned with Farrakhan and Allah. And I mean that for all these dudes, because it's funny how all these guys that follow Islam end up talking about David and Abraham and Moses and Isaac. No. Talk about Muhammad.
Eric Terrell with the super chat says, was he bringing up Ye and Riri to let Wayne know that his crew is better than Drake and Nicki? Who knows? I didn't even think that. Darren Harris with the super chat says, I'm going to let y'all finish, but Capadonna's verse on Winter Wars is one of the best guest appearances of all time. Yes, it is. And we were real behind. Talib Abdullah, says, Nas and Jay have been goated battling since Nasir dropped. Nas on the EPMD video surrounded by goats. It's been a sly jab on both ends lately. But Nas is putting in the work. We got to give him that. Miss LB with the super chat says, these ain't songs, this is hymns. Nas, I make gospel in the booth. It might sound like I'm writing hymns. Shaking my head.
Hold on 1 second. I want to get to somebody, the Christian guy, Coop, the same dude who does street rappers who sell crack and rap about it. They don't compare themselves to David and bring up Psalms.
Yeah, I think that the difference here is, again, not to interrupt or whatever, but I think that, again,
I am him. Did he not say I am him and bring up Psalm 151? So he left himself open. I don't hear Pusha T, Benny, Conway, any of them street dudes doing that. You hear Game doing that? You hear any of them street dudes bringing up Psalm 151 and speaking about hymns and saying I am him? Where?
I think the other part of it for me was the fact that between Ross, Wayne, and even Eminem, who's on the next song, they had no problem praising God on the record. If that's what the theme is, and that's what you're on, and that's what the record you're on, the song is called God Did. It's like with that whole 4 minutes, he went out of his way to not mention anything God did.
Mike, In the end of days, the blasphemy is going to come right in your face by the world's leaders.
Yeah, it's true.
It's going to be right in front of you
That's
for plain
biblical.
sight, and people are going to ignore it. It was written.
Yeah.
It was written that the blasphemy and that the mark is going to be right in front of you, and you're not going to be paying attention to when the words are being spoken to you. The people are going to be blinded by it. Yeah. This is literally written. The people are not going to pay attention to the blasphemies that are taking place in front of them in the end of day. Look at what he is saying right after it says, the mountains cannot witness to God, the hills cannot proclaim him, but the trees have cherished my words, the flocks my deeds. Listen to this. Who can proclaim? Who can announce? Who can declare the Lord's deeds? God has seen everything. God has heard everything. God has listened. God sent his prophet to anoint me.
Sean,
really?
Yeah. Sean,
really?
Yeah.
Really? Really?
Yeah. It's there.
Blasphemy.
It is.
This is like blasphemy of the highest order. This is what is talked about in Revelations. Like, this is it. About how the people who lead you will lead you astray because they will blaspheme the Lord's name in vain at will.
This was right in our face, too.
It was written.
Yeah.
Go read Revelations.
Let me get to some of these super chats so we can, continue on with this.
This is a great ridiculous discussion. That people think that I'm the one taking issue.
Yeah.
No. He the one with issues. He the one with the God complex.
I'm seeing people saying that we're taking this too deep, but I mean, again, this is literary works that we need to dissect and unpack.
Save it and put it down. No, according to hip hop, it's a historical piece. Put it down that I said this. Explain his contextualization of Psalm 151 from someone who is a follower of Farrakhan anyway. What you going to read in Psalm 151 anyway?
Well, I know Farrakhan.
What I want to tell you is that the Muslims believe in the Old Testament. But it's like, give me some scriptures from the Quran. Because the Quran actually gives you the order on how you live your life. But if we talk about the order about how you live your life, well, these niggas can't have sex out of wedlock, can't smoke, can't drink, can't do none of the stuff that they do and actually be Muslim. And that's why they speak about the Christian things, because it is more of a free-for-all phone. I see the phony shit that you do. So, see, you want to have a Muslim, you want to be Muslim to the public so you can empower the black people, but you want to live a Christian lifestyle. You can't smoke, you can't drink, you can't commit infidelity to make your wife make lemonade, nigga. Right. You can't do that shit when you're really a Muslim. You know that, right?
No, you're right.
That's literally against the order of how you're supposed to live your life. These motherfuckers out here be so phony. At least the street rappers that I like don't contextualize Psalm 151 when they talking to try to prove their points. They actually do the opposite. That's why I like Pusha T so much. He's like, no, I'm the villain, and I like being the villain, and is honest about being the villain. Give me the motherfucker that's giving it to me straight.
I agree with you. It's not deceptive in that way. Let me get through these super chats.
Let the smoker shine the Coop, Mike. It's not deceptive at all. No. If money is the evil root, then let the smoker shine the Coop. See, Jesus sat down with people who told the truth of all walks of life. That's who he was.
Let me finish these super chats so we can get everybody caught up in the conversation. Sean with the super chat says, guys, the last time Jay sounded good was that Meek Mill joint. Coming full circle, he came back on the track with Ross again. This begs the question. Ross said, I write for your favorite rappers. No, I don't think Ross is writing for Jay. But again, like I said before, when it comes to musical direction, and I think that, for a certain period, Jay has kind of leaned on Kanye for musical direction. Maybe he leans on Ross for musical direction to a certain extent too, because he's made a lot of records with Ross. He's made more records with Ross than he's made records with anybody outside of Ye in the past 10. Yeah, they got Maybach Music. They got a whole bunch of records.
Because he's the best beat picker ever. Mm-hmm. Hey, for everything that I'm saying, that's about him being blasphemous. On some rap shit, he's ahead. He knows that Ross is the best beat picker ever, too. Mm-hmm. Because he's the guy that picks Sunshine, and I know what girls like. So he knows Ross is a better beat picker. Give me the beat he picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows.
Non-Plus with the super chat says, got to give Jay's marketing team their flowers. They're the real MVP. Leroy Green in the building said, peace, gods. And the NOI, peace to the gods and NOI, Hove and the Christian faith. But respectfully, I'm going to show y'all why all are one, governed by the same son. God. Goat talk.
No, see, here's what I'm saying. Okay, so like American Muslims are the one that are separating things. I've always said this. People don't understand. First of all, the Prophet Muhammad, who started the Nation of Islam, he married a Christian believing woman and followed some Christian values within his own home. When he fled under Christian, protection once upon a time. When he would have his forums about Islam, invited the Buddhists and the Christian leaders every year to forums. He wanted everybody to be together. So these Muslims that try to separate themselves, that was not the intention of your founder. Your founder literally invited everybody from every religion and every walk to his conventions every year to try to help bring it together, even though people's ideologies were different. That's the fundamental basis and structures that Islam was built off of. Most of Black American men don't even know that. And they sit up there and will go follow. And it is foolish.
Mike 100 with the super chat says Jay-Z's verse was just okay. Billy to billion to billionaire. If that's what he's talking about, what else could we talk about? Douglas Vicker with the super chat says, Jay, name drop more than game. Yo, wow. I'm going to get to the bottom of these so we can get on to the JID album. But not to say that I'm not loving this discussion. Yes, we got to get to our sponsor as well. Flipper says, Guru is the equivalent of Rich Paul, bragging about Bron scoring 40 points in an all-star game. A verse on Khaled's album ain't Game 7, my dude. He is a pom-pom. We need an album. People want an album, man.
Hold on, and listen to what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be clear about this. And I'm saying this very, very seriously. My older brothers are Muslims. My father's a Muslim. I'm around it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So this isn't something that I'm like knowledgeable of up close and personal about what it should and what it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mad Max
this is right on the side of my tribe.
Mad Max with the super chat says Nas is only boring to people that don't like mystic talk. Like one of my mans told me, Max, you only like Nas because he's God body type of guy. You into the Israelites or the 5% talk. So I guess Nas is an acquired taste. I've always loved Nas, and honestly, man, sometimes I was trolling Coop because I know he was a super Nas fan, and Nas fans in that period would say everything that Nas made was the greatest shit ever. I love Nas. And I think my standards for Nas was always so high based on the shit that he made in 94 and 96, and all that was unreasonable. But he's showing me now that this longevity that Nas is on right now, it's undeniable. It's just like my friends that used to debate me about Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. They have jumped on the train now. They're like, yo, I can't even deny it. Tom Brady's the greatest ever. Mad Max also says, but Nas is not boring. He's just a poet. It's like the Floyd Mayweather is boring. He's not. He's just a true fighter and a master of the sweat science and the genius. Yeah.
Hey, here's the thing. How about this? Mm-hmm. Here's what I want people to understand. Jay did an album of Jay Electronica, right?
Mm-hmm. He didn't put his name on.
You want to know?
He didn't put his name on. I think that's important for people to know, though.
Let's go back to that. Who does Jay Electronica follow?
The Nation of Islam. Okay.
What is Jay-Z's rhetoric on that album?
It's very NOI-ish. I liked it. And, that's honestly, when it comes to hip-hop, that's some of my favorite approaches. I'm a big fan of
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Death Certificate's one of my favorite albums ever.
I believe we gave it a 4 or 4.25. I believe we got a 4.25.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, actually, literally right before Alfredo and Pray for Paris drop, it's like, well, it's the best album this year so far. What we said.
It was actually the album that jumped off this podcast.
It was the album that jumped off this podcast. That is correct. It's funny how it happened. Also, Nas channel got jumped off of the Jay Electronica and Jay-Z album. It was based on an article review that I wrote.
Yep.
Remember that when I actually used to write these things? Right. So much easier to write them. So much more fun for me.
This is fun too.
When do you, no, listen to what I'm saying. When do you ever hear Christians talking about Allah or Muslim ideologies or Quranic scriptures? Don't tell me that it's not problematic and then I'm tripping then.
Yeah.
Give me some evidence of where like these lines and these borders are being crossed, or is it just Jay that gets to do it uninhibited, unreproached?
Well,
Because
again,
I'm gonna approach him about this shit because I'm a Christian man that has Muslim family members that literally are right there. Me and my father, Mike, do you remember when you came to the old house that had the acres of land on it?
yeah.
Were you there when my father showed up?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I remember your mom showed up.
Yeah, you had left. Okay, so these motherfuckers showed up so late, Mike. So four of my brothers showed up that night and my father, but that wasn't the highlight of the night. The same place where we sat out on the patio at the lake and drank all night, my father sat out there with me till literally 5:15 in the morning till it was time for me to go to work at the airport to explain to me why Jesus didn't exist and wasn't real because he's a Muslim. We literally sat outside and drank and talked about it for 4 hours non-stop. You get what I'm saying? So I do this. You feel what I'm saying? Like, my father's memory to recite is better than Jay, yours, and mine put together. He was sitting up there spitting out scripture, Quran, Umbutara, like off the dome. That's where I get my shit from. He's super sick. We literally fighting. My mom and my aunt are in the back in my aunt's room like, these niggas, shut up.
Well, you know what?
This goes on, Mike, in my house, in my home. And so I know that he out of pocket because my father don't speak this way.
Well, Coop, this is the answer to your question.
That's what I'm saying. My father don't speak this way. My father's a Muslim. He don't speak this way and cross these lines. Don't tell me that it's okay.
Coop, you're right. But I'm going to answer your question as to the why of it all. The same reason why Khaled named this album God Did as opposed to Allah Did. I mean, it's right here. He says the album's called God Did, but is executive produced by Allah. So you can't sell that. That's why the rhetoric jumps over to the Christian beliefs. Because he can't sell the other talk.
Hold on. No. I want to pause for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Our senior writer, Denim, is in the chat. Denim actually has an article that's about to drop from us as soon as my ass gets done editing it, which is my fault. Denim's article actually should be down now. Denim and her older brother are Islamic, of the Islamic faith. And so she's literally in the chat right now. I see you, Denim. What up?
What up, Denim? I want to get through these super chats.
Hold on, no, listen to what she's saying, because this is important too. NOI is different from Islam, Coop. And listen to what she's saying. We believe Jesus was one of the most important prophets. Okay, now, if that's the case, that is different, because a typical Islamic man believes in all the Old Testament prophets and does not believe in Jesus. And so if she is saying that rhetoric has changed, that does change that changes the standard in the bar. But then what I would tell you is that this is what I mean about there's American Muslims. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like some of the people who are from overseas don't respect the American Muslims as much because they feel like some of it's been watered down and the rhetoric is different. This would be a perfect time to bring Denim on because she can actually speak to some of this as somebody who's like known me since she was almost a teenager. I've known Denim since she was like 19, I think, or 20, just about. And I think I even knew her before she actually joined the nation. And she's actually, and this is one of the beautiful things about we're doing with According to Hip Hop. Our senior writer is a Muslim. You know what I mean? I'm a Baptist Christian. You know what I'm saying? So we need to have these conversations healthily. The Psalm 151 thing is the big thing that I would raise issue with. Mm-hmm. Okay, Denim saying she's a Sunni Muslim. Okay, Denim. So my pops is a Sunni. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't believe in Jesus, though. So, juxtapose that for me, how NOI works now, because my father joined the Nation of Islam when I was he became a member of Islam when I was young, before I believe the NOI was even an official thing. And as a Sunni Muslim, he does not believe that Jesus Christ is a prophet. He does not believe Jesus is real. He believes Jesus is a story that comes from the Anunnaki, comes from the Sumerian culture, the original civilization. Which I do still believe is original man. He's all black first, but
I feel like we're gonna really have a big discussion on the Patreon. on Monday.
Yeah, we're gonna have that discussion on the
Yeah.
Patreon. Let's slide to our sponsor.
Let me get through these super chats real quick, man. Michael Williams says, "Damn, I thought you two were about to would be higher on this verse. This was basically Dope Boy J, which is which I know is your favorite version of J. Yes, but it's just the context of the record. I don't have a problem with the quality of the verse per se. I just think that the time and place and the title of the record and the approach to the record is all wrong. That's just my point. You know what I mean? And I think Wayne showed him right before him how to actually properly contextualize this record and be a part of this record.
Right. So here we go with the Issa thing. Okay. So like what I'm saying is that you always speaking about Issa in the Quran. Right. That's also what Nas is speaking to intro on It Was Written.
Mm-hmm.
The acknowledgement by the Muslim community of Jesus as a prophet.
Yeah.
Show it to me. Including Denim. No, including Denim, because here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm saying show me the evidence that differs from what I've been told by Muslims in Islamic faith that they follow. Even, you ever notice in Malcolm X, even in the movie I've been talking about, tonight we're going to learn about Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Old Testament prophets, Moses. No. Believe in those. Jesus is where things pivot typically for Christian, Jewish, and Islamic faith. Jesus is the pivot point. Mm-hmm. Now explain to me how the pivot changed. Acknowledgement and appreciation and hierarchy as a prophet is different things. It's like, no, okay, so let's say you acknowledge Jesus exists. Do you believe he was a prophet?
Right.
Because you acknowledge Moses, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the tribe as prophets.
Right.
Right. Malcolm X taught most of the people who know their Old Testament stuff that are part of the nation, that are in our age demographic, their parents learned from Malcolm.
Yeah.
In a young Farrakhan.
Yeah.
About Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They did not learn from Christian leaders about these men.
No, you're right. Born King with the super chat says, Foul Breeze by Nas is an 8-minute long no hook and it's fire. I got to get through these super chats so we can get on, Coop. Mr. Mark with the super chat says, Jay's cheerleaders for their guy, and that's what you want. What is stopping Nas's team from doing the same? Well, clearly when we look at the major publications, they're not on Nas's team. I think Jay's team is very vast. And that's why when I hear, that's what I said Mike did. That's why when I hear Khaled talk about, they didn't want us to do this. Who is they? Seems like everybody's on Khaled's team.
Everybody's on
Khaled. Look at his album listing. And look at all the people that co-signed the records or whatever. Like when you go under his post, I mean, Diddy got in there talking about some man. This is a required listening, man. This album must be listened to. So who is they that is holding Khaled back? That's the part I want to know.
Let's do a couple things. Let's get to the breakdown. First of all, I don't think this album is as bad as you thought that it was going to be. What do you say to that?
Again, I think the theme for me throws it all the way off. I think that, some of the songs. Let me get to the track list. Some of the records I like.
No, I got the track list right here. Let's go in order.
No, I got it on the screen.
No Secret.
No Secret. Not a song. Not a song.
God Did.
God Did is a good song. It's a good song.
Use This Gospel. Did you like it?
I liked it.
I did too. Big Time. Did you like Big Time?
I don't think it's appropriate for the record.
Okay, so here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
The balancing act of the whole bringing the faith into it. That's the problem, because here's the thing. I'm going to tell you what my pastor tells me. There is no gray area.
It made no sense.
You're all the way or you're not. And so if you want to bring into question that, that's fine. Where's the music for you? Do you like the song?
It's hard for me to even place it. I mean, it's not a bad song.
It's hard to go from Use This Gospel to Big Time.
Exactly. And the album's called God Did. I think the takeoff in Quavo song is, I actually like it. But then Quavo goes on there, God Did. It was like buying bitches bottles or whatever he said. It's like, nah, man, let's not do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a dope record, though.
It is a dope record, sonically, but it's like, when you're putting it in this context, it's like, it's hard for me to, but again, it's Khaled's album, right? And so these are Khaled problems because we just saw with Donda, Kanye was able to reel everybody into one message. It was Khaled's job to reel people into a message, and he didn't do that. So I'm
That's
judging
awesome.
this. I'm judging this album and these individual songs on his ability or inability to reel people into his theme. If this is the
See,
theme he wants to take on, you understand what I'm saying?
that is where you and I defer because I did not think he was going to be able to do that anyway.
I didn't either, but you shouldn't even
So
attempt.
I just wanted to hear. I'm gonna be honest with you, his last two albums are some mid for real. Like some straight up, like there's literally like 2 or 3 songs on both of the projects. This is a little better than that.
It is.
I like the broken up Migos joint. I like Takeoff and Quavo's joint.
I do too.
I'm gonna tell you what my favorite joint is. The Fam Good We Good with Gunna and Roddy Ricch. Or I'm riding to that, Mike.
It's a good song.
I'm riding to that. It's like, I don't know if it's on the God Did album, because if it did, it's problematic. Even if it's problematic.
But Coop, this is.
But as far as the ride factor in the music, no, if we're going to separate it from the theme and the motif and just get to the music, that whole Fam Good, We Good, and the Bills Paid with Lotto and City Girls, no, them two, that shit snaps, Mike. It snaps.
I feel you. But
Mike play it tonight when I ride out. Mike, I might play it tonight when I ride out.
The problem, but Coop, the problem is that even shows me that even. But Coop, that shows me even more that he used this title to sell this record.
No, you're totally right.
And so for me, that kind of disqualifies a lot of.
God for centuries, Mike. Mike, people have been abusing God and misappropriating God and Jesus for centuries. And so when Khaled does it, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not surprised. I'm going to unpack the shit a little further because he got specific. He went to Psalm 151 and said, I am him, and then brought up Psalm 151, which means you're juxtaposing yourself to either David, Christ, or the faith overall, while your faith is really more aligned with 5%er and NOI ideology. And yeah, I'm going to pull flags and pull your card about it because apparently nobody else is going to do it and call it verse of the year. But I enjoyed the verse more than you actually.
Yeah. But again, he followed the line with, Jesus turned water to wine. All Hove needed was a stove. And didn't even say I or J is Hove. And the words are important, and the placement of the words are important. We're not looking at this too deep. This man is an incredible lyricist. You know what I'm saying? We can't just sit here and break down all the positive shit and not break down the questionable shit. And act like,
okay, so
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Look at it like this. Since we've done this show, some people, even like Lupe, think that I'm arrogant or too smart for my own good or entitled or narcissistic. What do you think a guy who is as intelligent as me with $1 billion might think of himself, Mike?
Who knows?
You feel me? You feel me? Like, these are dangerous things. I don't speak from a place of being above reproach. I speak from a place of it's like, no, money, power corrupts. It's biblical. It's cyclical. It's never going to change. It's rare that you find a man that is not affected by these things and audit himself properly.
That's fair.
It's rare. It's just rare. So stop making it seem like it's above reproach approach. He just happens to be in a sphere space and a sphere in time where social media and the marketplace and him. You feel what I'm saying? Same thing with Ye. It's the timing of that. No. There's been you before. I tell people, Jesus is the first rapper, Mike. He shows up to speak, and crowds come from all around. Literally flock for days. Is that not like what it's like when you go see a show? You know what I'm saying? He is the Beatles. He is Michael Jackson. He is the Rolling Stones. He's Prince. He's Rakim in 88. He's Nas in 94. He's Hove in 01. He's Big in 97. He's Pac in 96. You feel what I'm saying? Yeah. He is all those things. He didn't do nothing but show up and speak. The same way you just show up and rap. So I get why you can juxtapose it and put it together, but you're not him.
Yeah.
Him turning water to wine and taking a loaf of bread and feeding hundreds and feeding thousands. It's not the same as you cooking crack in Marcy. It's not.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that. This is the thing. And I know that our viewers are going to be like, he's using that as an analogy and this and that. Yeah, I understand what he's doing with the analogy. It's just inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
get
it's
it.
just wrong. No, I get what he's doing.
Yeah, I
And
get what he's doing, but it's just inappropriate.
And this is his intelligent and articulate and artistic people who happen to be well read telling him, no.
But the thing is, we make that okay.
Because he's a human being. No, because just like you could go talk to Jesus, this is what I'm saying. See, Jesus hung out with the prostitutes, the pimps, the beggars, the lowest of the low. And so when you're telling me that I can't pull up on him and tell him these things, well, that really doesn't fit with the motif and the archetype he just got done expressing. Now, does it?
Now, that's true. Let me get to the rest of these
super
chats.
Right.
Mad Max
Checks and balances.
Mad Max of the super chat says, well, the Most High loved David because David thought like him. David was a man of war, so is the Most High. And he was only mad at David because he slept with Ura's wife. And then Ura killed. That's why, Israel fell. I feel like we're really, really behind on these super chats. Let me catch up because that
very problematic. Murder and adultery is a problem. Just so we're clear, murder and adultery is not something that gets passed over slightly. Like it's like, oh, he just killed the person. He just committed adultery. It's like no, no.
Keep talking about some of the. Oh, let me get to this one. Douglas Vicker says
super chats while we talk about this CBD.
Yeah, go ahead.
Relaxed relief. No.
Douglas Vicker says, damn, Coop, preaching in the church. I know God is smiling. Love you, bruh. Deacon. Yes. We got NDU Jams.
In my next profession. Yeah.
NDU Jam says, I'm glad Jay-Z's verse came out before KD3. Nas is observing. Also, I wonder how much money DJ Khaled has to spend on all those features. I don't think anything, to be honest.
I don't think he's spending anything.
I don't either. I don't understand the whole system.
You and I know these are the games we play.
Yeah. Midget Michael the super chat says, my nephew funny. He said that he is not God. It's garbage. Ray Reynolds of the super chat says we have to take into consideration that Jay-Z is God body. Again, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe this might not have been the song for him. That's the only thing I'm saying. Eric Terrell with the super chat says Beyonce said in the Church Girl song that only I can judge me, not God can judge me. It runs in the family. Yeah, and I remember when the pastor spoke out on that. People kind of was coming to him. Let me get through this and we'll get to our sponsor. Born King says many of us 5%ers don't see those men of Scripture above or better than us. That's just what it is.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're some of the worst.
Yeah.
So look here. You should look at them that way. When Paul was speaking about the other disciples in his celibacy, he was letting you know, he talks about his path of celibacy in the New Testament. Paul does. And he lets you know that his path is a unique one in relationship to his counterparts to let you know that the other disciples is out here getting laid because he's celibate. He's letting you know through his celibacy that the rest of them are fornicating. So yes, like part of the reason why it works is because it lets you know that God will choose the iniquity and place it up high. But only when that iniquity is humble, Mike. None of them are arrogant or proclaiming that in self. It is a glory that is bestowed upon them, not something that they claim for themselves. You don't get to claim the glory. He bestows the glory and the honor upon you because of your humility in your work. What we doing?
Danielle with the super chat says, what do you say for people who say, but Nas went to hell for snuffing Jesus and labeled that as blasphemy?
I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like the, hold on. I don't like the whole broads playing with pentagrams and they vagina.
Yeah.
Remember that on Man? I don't like that either.
Yeah.
I don't like that whole my lifestyle predicted by a gypsy line and taking in blood. I'm consistent.
Yeah, you are. Esquire with the super chat says, in all fairness, Nas has expressed contradictory stances on religion too. See, carry the cross and comparing to Muslim references, he mentioned it on smoking.
And I don't like it.
Yeah. Coop has been consistent on that, and I'm gonna be honest with that.
And I don't like it. And every time Nas does it, I'll tell you, it's like, nah, I don't like that shit. Because here's the thing. You can tell that Nas has played with the mystic.
Yeah.
Or been around people that have. No, I don't like it.
Jay Short with the super
believer,
chat
I don't like it.
says, Jay out here rapping like 97 Madonna with all the blasphemy. She was at the desperate point in her career trying to get attention, and he sounds so too. Let's see. Born King says, what are you talking about? There's a chapter in the Quran called Isa, Jesus.
I just brought up the Issa thing.
Yeah,
see?
I think
That's what
we're
I'm saying.
just
You see, I
behind.
already was going with the Issa thing. Like, I already know, fam. You talk like, fam, you don't, like, y'all don't know me. It's like, I come off like I'm well-read. It's like, I'm even more well-read than you think I am. It's like, I know about the Issa thing. The Issa thing is not a mark to sit up there and say that Jesus is a prophet. Does the Quran say that Jesus is a prophet?
I think
Answer
I'm just
that
behind
question.
on the super chats.
I don't see anywhere in the Quran where it says Jesus is a prophet. It says Abraham's a prophet. It says Moses a prophet. Isaac a prophet. Jacob a prophet. It says that in the Quran. Says that.
You're gonna have people wanting to battle you on the
Playing with me.
Patreon.
Like, no, just stop playing with me. Like, y'all gotta stop playing with me like with the little stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know that the Quran didn't call Jesus a prophet.
Flipper says,
You know it.
this ain't Dope Boy Jay. It's holier than thou Jay. Let's see. I'm getting to him, man.
Oh, Dylan says yes, it does. Yes, it does. She says the Quran does. Okay, they're saying it does call Jesus a prophet. Where?
Let's see. Hold on. Let me get to this.
See, this is what I'm saying. Okay, so
Mad Max with the super chat says the Christians that
this is what I'm
I've
saying.
met.
Isa can go back to Egyptian. Can go back to the Egyptian. You get what I'm saying? Can go back to Egyptian deities too, in terms of you get what I'm saying? Isis, right, and Osiris, right.
Mad Max
Horus
with
and Jesus.
Mad Max with the super chat says the Christians I've met only co-sign the New Testament and not the Old Testament, which is why they eat pork, saying God cleared it. So it's not just the NOI, conflating. That's true. I've heard Christians say that as well. Sean says Jadakiss never let you down when it comes to his feature. Jada is a legend. I did like Jada's feature on this album.
So let's go to the best features on the album, and then let's go to our sponsor. I got Kiss, Wayne, and Jay in that order in terms of the best appearances.
Let me see. I liked Ross's appearance too. I did.
You do?
I think Ross set it off. He set the tone. But I'm kind of with you on that. The thing with the Jay and the Wayne thing, and I liked Eminem's performance too.
I asked people to tell me in the Quran where they acknowledge Jesus as a prophet, because I'm not privy to like where that is in the Quran, and I've read the Quran, so maybe I missed it. Where they're acknowledging Jesus as a prophet. Like, I just want to know where it is. Like, show it to me so I can pull it up and read it myself. Not what you're telling me. Show me what I read, the same way I read Psalm 151 with clarity, to show you how he was trying to compare and to show you what it really is versus what it wasn't. Like, do me the same justice and the same ordinance and the same diligence that I'm doing you. Just don't tell me. I'm saying that respectfully because we're having a serious conversation about those things. It's like, no. If the Quran is saying Jesus is a prophet, show me. Because I don't hear my Muslim brothers and sisters out here telling me that.
I want to get through these super chats too, and you're right. Just send in the actual scripture. We'll quote it right here. I want to get through these super chats so we can get to the sponsor and then get to JID and kind of, I guess, wrap up the whole Khaled album.
It calls him Isa. Isa can be interpreted in different time frames and different time periods. It's not just Jesus. Isa is not a direct reflection of Jesus, because some people feel like the story of Horus is really the story of Jesus, which precedes Jesus. That's why the Isa thing is not going to work for me. Show me where they're calling him the Christian name that he was given, the same way that the Quran says Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. Show me where they say Jesus, because we call him Jesus. Do y'all not call Abraham Abraham? Do you not call Isaac Isaac? Do you not call Jacob Jacob? So if there is no difference, then show me where Jesus is in the Quran. I understand what I'm saying. You see where words and contextualization matters? Because Isa in Aramaic and Hebrew language can be interpreted a multitude of ways. Where's Jesus in the Quran? You keep saying Isa. I know the story of Isa. It's been reinterpreted multitude of times, which is part of why a lot of the Muslims do not believe in Jesus. But you say Abraham, don't you? And Jacob, don't you? And Isaac, then say Jesus and not Isa and claim him as a prophet.
Let me get through these super chats, Coop, and that's a fair point.
I'll wait. I'm very well read and versed. I'll wait.
Mad Max says, if Christians say only the New Testament counts, then they don't have the right to claim David. That's why other people of faith use the words because of all the faiths. Christians make up stuff the most. Let's see. Let me get Mad Max again. Said it's all blasphemy.
I don't hear any facts.
He said it's all blasphemy.
I don't hear any facts.
Hold on. Let me finish these, Coop. We got to get through this. He said it's all blasphemous though, but this is Babylon. So Hov got his babble on, or just cleverly laughing my ass off. Let's see. Let me get to these. DJ Bruce Almighty says, what did y'all think about Dame saying that Ye was the greatest Rockefeller artist? He said Jay rapped for money and Ye rapped for the love. He said that, I agree with where Dame came from. Let me put some context to this. Dame was asked what artist represents Rockefeller Records the best, and he said that he would pick Kanye over Jay as an artist anytime because Kanye is an artist that does it for the art, where Jay is an artist that does it for the money. And he said that he worked with both of them, so he can make that assessment. And I think he might be the most qualified person to ever make that assessment. And based on the output, I can't disagree. Flipper says Microphone Fiend and Verbal Intercourse didn't need a Marcy's parade rollout to tell us how dope the verse was. And to piggyback on that, and I'm going to be honest, I got to be fair here. This is very Eminem-ish, and I say this about Eminem all the time. When people question, like, oh, yo, you think Eminem's not dope? Rakim said this, blah, blah, blah said this. This is what all this J fanfare feels like. If a verse is dope, we don't need everybody in the world sitting here giving us breakdowns and shit. It is what it is. We didn't need, Haas and Jungle to come out and tell us that Magic was crazy. We didn't need that. It just was. I think I'm almost through with the super chats, Coop, and then we can get to our sponsor. We can get going on to the next subject. Mr. Mark with the super chat says, y'all turn this into a religious class, LOL. What's your actual take on the bar work and the cadence of Jay's verse? He was in pocket for the most part. Yeah, we already said that, man. The bar work is dope.
I already went through all that. I actually like the verse more than Mike does. And it is a dope verse. But show me the story of Jesus in the Quran. Y'all saying the same.
Oh my God, Jesus we gotta move on. We gotta move on. They're gonna do it.
No, it's just they're saying it. It's like saying it. It's like, what's the story of Isa about? So tell me what the story of Isa is about in the Quran, because it's funny. Like the story of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob in the Quran, like it's the same as it is like in the Bible. You see what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying.
Like, right. So people are sitting up here acting like I'm ignorant. It's like, no, I'm just like, telling you the truth, and maybe you don't want to deal with the truth.
Nas the Goat says, I don't want this type of smoke on Patreon. Shout out to Nas the Goat.
Okay, no. Okay.
Hold on, let me finish these real quick.
No. I'm gonna pull up the scripture. No, I'm pull up the scripture. You're gonna start off with our sponsor, and we're gonna move on.
All right, let me finish these super chats though. I want to respect the people putting in money and whatnot. Yeah, I'm still going through the super chats. DJ Bruce Almighty says, Coop, remember, you're able to speak freely. We're paying per word. Just kidding. Let's see. Oh, there's another one that I missed. Ray Realm says, Coop, what are your thoughts on Kemet? And I think I'm finally done. Boom.